we are back.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad I'm sitting down right now because this is a tournament that wore me out.
Yeah, this is a sit down type of tournament. I mean, I want to comment on this beautiful image. So obviously, I'm thrilled that Takakeisho is the Yusho winner, but I have the suspicion that many are not.
Bit of a divisive win. I have a feeling there's no avoiding that particular topic. So.
No, we were going to try to avoid it. You know, it was going well, but this tournament, we have to talk about it, unfortunately.
Got to talk about it. But, well, first and foremost, congratulations to Takakeisho.
Takakeisho!
He did it. He got the wins he needed. Okay,
he did what he needed to do.
Did he do Yusho level sumo? I don't think anybody did this tournament, but
he did the best of the poor performances.
Best of the worst.
Best of the worst, with the exception of maybe a Fuji because he excelled.
Oh my God, Fuji, his future.
His future is bright.
I think after this tournament, everybody's just a little bit of an Fuji fan.
Yeah,
if not
I think
a bigger one.
Well, especially because he's kind of a cool guy. He's young, he's talented, and he's cool. And he made like this extraordinary comeback from, getting dumped down the very first time he came up into the top division.
That's a good point of it. I feel like whenever somebody is early and then they start surging, in the back of our mind, we're just like, you're going to slip up somewhere. He got all that slip up out of the way.
Yeah, and he even had like a hiccup at the end, and instead of just losing straight out, he grinded it out and he stayed in it. So
he checked all the boxes. So
he did. He's a surprise potential great.
Yeah. So congratulations to Fuji. Congratulations to the guy who made it to the front page of sumo.or.jp/AN. Okay, so we will start at the top, as we always do, which is unfortunately not going to be very quick. We're going to talk about Terunofuji, Yokozuna 1 East, who was not competing, so he has 0-0-15 as a record. Out as expected, there was a bunch of coyness in the leading up and all the news and tabloids.
All this game playing.
Yeah, it's standard issue, but it was, all signs led to his back is flaring up, he's got health issues, and you don't want them to force themselves. Like we say this about everybody, this would be no exception. So if Terunofuji didn't feel like he can give us a Yokozuna level, then don't come. Just come back in November or January if you have to.
Right, and the thing with Terunofuji is, I think he wants to leave on his own terms, so he's going to want to have like one more glorious tournament before this is all over, as opposed to like having something horrible happen.
No, he doesn't want to peter out.
Yeah.
He's at 8 Yusho, if I remember correctly. He did make mention of that number 10 that he wanted.
Right.
I think that if he gets the next time he gets a Yusho, he's going to look inward. If he thinks he's got another cup in him, maybe he sticks around. But I think he's going to look inward and say, go out on a high note.
Like Hakuoho did. So I think the next time he gets the Yusho, he's gone. That's where he is right now. But that's the state of things.
That's the state of things. But the good news is we have this uprising of exceptional talent that is now helping to rectify this weird transitional period.
And Fuji is in Terunofuji stable, so already Terunofuji. I hope he's contributing to this man's growth.
I have a feeling that he will, and there's a lot of Fujis on this top division roster. They're all going to be feeding each other. We said this when Nishikigi came up, and it's no less true now.
Right.
So next up, Kirishima, Ozeki 1 East, 9-6, cleared Katoban. I almost felt like we forgot he was Katoban for a minute there.
Yeah.
Because of the way he was fighting. Diversity of sumo, the powerful tactical mind, like the way he fights everybody just a little differently. So he's very, very intellectual, thinking through all of this stuff, and finally his body is able to sort of make do on all of the strategies that he has in his head.
For sure, though, Kirishima, there was sort of like this half Hoshoryu, half Kirishima Yusho talk. And while Kirishima did get a 9-6, he cleared Katoban, what was it, day 14?
Yeah, 13. By beating Hoshoryu, no less.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big match. So he wasn't quite up to the Ozeki hope that we have for him, but at least this was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think I was part of that Kirishima camp. I might have pegged him for the Yusho.
I think you did, actually.
So my apologies, Kirishima, for cursing you.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It's my fault. But something to keep in mind is this was his first full 15 as an Ozeki.
True.
And he's coming into it Katoban. So all the pressure that Hoshoryu fought through this tournament, he was fighting through a lot of that, and in addition to Katoban. So 96 isn't too bad. Not Ozeki level, strictly speaking, no. But there's a lot of this. Got to get the shakes out. Got to get the
you got to give guys time.
And I am optimistic that Kirishima will excel at being an Ozeki. And if you give him enough runway, perhaps he'll do something a little bit better than Ozeki. That is
sure.
2024 talking, though.
Yeah, you see, with Kirishima, this is probably a good growth tournament for him because he really had to gut it out. He probably was sweating a little bit when it took that long to get to his 8th win.
Yeah.
That can only help him grow. So in a lot of ways, it could be a positive result.
So the fact that first off, the fact that he cleared Katoban, good. The fact that he did a little bit better, also nice. Mm-hmm. There was also, so he had cleared his Katoban on that last day versus Takayasu, but he still got the win over a Takayasu who was probably feeling like now's his time because he always does better when he's underdog.
Always.
But Kirishima puts him in the ground. To be fair, all 3 of the Ozeki won on that last day. So at the very, very, very end,
we at least got that.
We got the Ozekis finally doing their job on day 15. Got there. There's a lot of at least we got there for September, I feel.
That is the theme of September is at least this.
At least this.
Yeah. Which isn't what I expected from a September tournament.
This was, oh my goodness. Well, again, I feel like this was necessary. And like it's still exciting sumo. It's just a very weird sensation.
Yeah, it doesn't quite fit what it's supposed to do. But I will say, like, second week, I called an 11-4 Yusho. I could tell with the way those records looked. I'm like, yeah, it's one of those tournaments.
It's gonna be one of those, and it sure was. All right, so speaking of 11-4, Ozeki won West Takakeisho 11-4. The decision to sit out July was at the time a little contentious because it did feel like we didn't know if he would ever be healthy.
Yes.
Or healthy enough. And so it felt like a gamble, but it paid off. So again, first off, he cleared Katoban. Then secondly, gets to what eventually becomes a playoff contention and then has the wherewithal to win it all at the end.
Right. As, you know, Ozeki should take the Yusho at the end, especially over, a newcomer. He's not completely a newcomer, but this is his second stint in the upper division. So let's get into the dirt and grime of this whole thing.
Tactically, Takakeisho does feel like he's slowing down a little bit. Like back in the day, the launch you into the stand sumo. I think he did that maybe once or twice. And one of them was against Gonoyama, who was definitely starstruck.
Yeah.
So he's that kind of sumo is either he didn't feel safe doing it or it's just not something he can do anymore. But instead, he is so good at sort of reading his opponents and then using the strength where it matters to shut them down, to foil their offenses. So what's interesting is, he's tactical, but in a completely different way than Kirishima is. And that Kirishima has this massive bag of tricks. He's sort of able to match the trick to the opponent. Takakeisho has a smaller bag of tricks, but he's able to use them more effectively.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, Takakeisho's got only a couple of things he can do, but he is starting to master those couple of things.
He's getting so good at that smaller bag of tricks that he's able to win Yushos with them. Now, speaking of winning Yushos, I feel, are compelled to discuss the nature of his playoff win.
Yes, unfortunately, because the internet is ablaze over that playoff match. You have at least 50% of people who are angry, devastated. Takakeisho has a bullseye on him, and he will never, ever be liked again. And then there's the people who I have heard plenty from in my days of talking about henka. They're like, it's a legal move. What are you getting so upset about?
There was an expectation, perhaps, and this is me speculating, that they wanted the head-to-head. They wanted the playoff match to be this crazy, great the best match is the last match. Like, I felt like that kind of a thing was riding in. And then Takakeisho just sort of saw that Atamifuji was not paying attention, sidesteps, puts him down, and gets a cup.
Right, and that disappointment also because Atamifuji's a young guy.
Yeah.
How exciting would it be for him to win? I think, as you mentioned, he was near tears when he lost that match.
He had a lot of that, what I'll call the Tokushoryu energy going for him.
Sure did.
Low down on the Banjuke, doing really well. We're gonna talk about all the good that Atamifuji did.
Yeah, because, I mean, he has no reason to hang his head low, that's for sure.
No, he does not.
So, let me be bad guy Maria, because I'm bad guy no matter what I say on this topic, so I'm just going to go real dark here. Takakeisho is never going to be liked by 100% of people. People already hate his guts, regardless of what he does. Maybe he's got some new haters now, but the reality is, his career is going to come to a crashing halt. And what he has on his mind is Yushos and Yokozuna. And he knows his time is running out. He didn't do any shifty business up until that playoff. In fact, he beat Atamifuji to tie. So he already faced him mano-a-mano once. Takakeisho, in a playoff, you know he's gassed. He's not the same guy that beat Terunofuji in a playoff. He probably would have lost the match if it went... I'm guessing his thought was, Atamifuji's already seen me once, and I can't take the chance that I'm too gassed because I want this Yusho.
He wants the Yusho.
And for better or for worse, right? Yeah, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. I wish that didn't happen. But am I gonna tell the guy don't do a legal move when it means the difference between getting a Yusho and not getting a Yusho? Probably at this point, and it's thanks to some of you who have pounded this into me. It's a legal move, and everybody should be on the lookout for it, especially in a playoff. Abi did it to Takayasu to get his just a couple times ago. I went through the history. Hakuoho has done henkas in playoff contention situations. Hadamafuji's done it. Terunofuji, I don't know if it was in a playoff situation, but Terunofuji has hanked. It's not good. I don't like it. I promise you, though, if Hoshoryu was in that position and he was feeling desperate, he's the kind of guy who would do it. So, on the henka topic, I wish Takakeisho did not do it, yes. But I'm not going to be upset that he won the Yusho. He did what he needed to do to get there. And honestly, on 11-4 Yusho, everybody gets a demerit.
Yeah, there was only one special prize. It went to Atamifuji. Because he's
deservedly so.
Because he's the only person who performed above expectation.
Everybody else was just like a stinker.
Yep. So this is my take on it, is that the fact that we have an 11-4 Yusho means that it's already kind of crap.
So you might as well have a crap ending.
Well, I guess yes and no. Might as well have a crap ending maybe, but sort of we're fighting over a rotten apple here.
Yeah, like who's going to eat it?
Something else to keep in mind is when Takakeisho lost to Hoshoryu, there was that moment that after he lost, that he just sat and he like stared off into space. It's very unlike him.
Very. It was like a Takayasu moment.
Very Takayasu, channeling his, oh no, that just happened to me. And I feel like that was the moment that he's just like, I lost the real Yusho. 12-3 would have been the true Yusho for him.
Right.
So to get this 11-4, it's still a cup. And in the interview, he makes mention that he's thinking upward toward his dream, which feeds back into he needs Yushos to get to Yokozuna. He only has so much time to get to Yokozuna. He may not get there. Historically, pulling back, November is his strong tournament.
That's true.
And January is his weak one. So
this would be the time if you were going to do it.
So many times he's won November, and then January's crashed and burned due to something.
Right.
But if he's got a September and a November, now there's a larger discussion at hand whether 11-4 is he going to be a Yokozuna level Yusho anyway?
Right, they might not even give him the shot at it.
So for people who are saying this isn't a real Yusho like myself, if he gets like a 12-3 in November and he gets the Yusho, the deliberation counselors are going to be like, how about a real one?
Right. They might be like, you need to go 15-0 or 14-1, which I don't think Takakeisho is capable of.
No, this sort of reminds me of like getting like a 9-6 on an Ozeki run.
Yeah.
And that by itself, it's not going to get you anything, but if you combine it with something that's really, really strong, it sort of equals itself out. I think that's the gamble going on here. And in the back of my mind, I feel like that is the path Takakeisho's mind took to get to henka-ing a Tamawashi in the playoff.
Right, and the thing is, you can hate that, and you would be justified. I mean, if it was somebody doing it to Takakeisho, I'd be very, very upset. But at the same time, this is the man's career. He made a choice. If you look at the big picture, it's more than just one match where he hanked, honestly. Tamawashi has a bright future, and Takakeisho's is kind of behind him.
Getting there, yeah. So, yeah, I'll say to the Takakeisho fans, first off, the haters can't reach you because you're going to be looking at this page right here, right there. You're just going to look at this, and then they could just be yelling in your ear about how he's a disgrace to Ozeki, and you're not going to care.
No.
To the haters, all you have to do is sit and watch because it's going to destroy itself.
Yeah, it is.
So if you don't like this bitter pill, don't worry. He'll be eating it too. Don't worry.
He'll be eating it sooner than a Tamawashi.
Sooner than a Tamawashi. I have a feeling. Yeah. So.
Yeah, just gotta let it go.
Yeah, Takakeisho made a deal with the devil. What you gonna do?
It seems like in this time of transition, every wrestler is gonna have a turn at being the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Until somebody gets strong enough to be the hero consistently, everyone's gonna be tempted to be the villain. So, everybody gets stronger. Everybody do better because there were 5 guys who had an opportunity at that playoff, which changes that whole dynamic.
Yeah, I was sending you messages, and I'm like, we can sit down with the numbers and talk about Asanoyama versus Hokuseiho and Daieisho versus Takakeisho. I might have, if you told me to bet money, I might have bet on Daieisho that day because
I know.
Beat Kirishima. We're gonna get into this, but like the energy going into day 15, there was no
anything could have happened.
Anything goes. Could have been Takakeisho. Could have been a Tamawashi just winning.
Just winning and being
just
done.
Winning and walking away. If Hokuseiho walked away with all this, I would have been furious. I would have been massively mad. But it was possible.
Yes, it was.
He could have upended Hoshoryu.
Boy, that wouldn't have been good.
Oh my goodness.
Hoshoryu was so pissed. This
already off to a great start. Putting dirt on him on day 15 and making him Kadoban, and then he goes and he beats a Tamawashi. That's a timeline out there.
So we could be mad about other things. We're going to be mad no matter what. Something bad was going to happen in this 11-4 show.
Oh my gosh! So this is where we're at. So I'm also thinking back that this is not the first time that Takakeisho has henked and everybody got mad and then everybody forgot about it.
This is true. This is true.
So let's fast forward to November. Let's get about 8 days into November, and then nobody's going to remember any of this happened.
Right, and we'll have to see. I mean, Takakeisho is not the man he was. No. Who knows if he'll... This might be his last show. Okay. You want to be sitting in the back of his mind saying, man, I wish I just hanked. In the grand scheme of his life and his career, that'll be forgotten, but the show will not be forgotten.
He's got his name on the cup, guys.
Yep. So, anyway, bad guy Maria.
Oh, well, we'll see. Again, I just got to keep in mind he's been Ozeki for a long time.
When many couldn't hang in there. Shodai's out, Mitakeumi's out, Asanoyama's out.
Asanoyama might come back in, though. Oh,
I hope so.
I never thought I'd be on the Asanoyama hype train, but
either.
Here I am.
He is suddenly like the man.
Holy goodness.
I love this transition from me being mediocre on him to, yes, Asanoyama.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, Takakeisho.
Yeah, we're off this.
Takakeisho got 11-4 and just so happened to get the cup. I'm not going to say congratulations. I already said that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
I'm still going to throw a party.
You're still going to. Oh yeah. Again, you're just going to look at the front page. You're just going to go to sleep at night with those.
Every night before I go to bed, I look at the front page.
Right here. It's going to look like this. This is, by the way, they have been gangbusters on this. Like the Kirishima one was good. The Hoshoryu one was good. They got the.
Whoever is doing this, I want to send them like a thank you card.
They need a raise.
They do.
Okay, so somebody who doesn't need a raise because he raised himself. Hoshoryu. Ozeki 2 has 8-7.
Woo!
Oh my goodness. All right, so there's going to be a theme here, which is I had mentioned getting stuff out of the way. He was so nervous. I think right here when he was 3-6, we're like, oh man, this is just what needs to happen. He needs to get Kadoban, then he needs to clear it, and then he needs to figure out his life. But he just did this whole training montage arc in 15 days.
He sure did.
Like, I'm exhausted watching it. He's going to sleep for like a week.
That defeat of Takakeisho was very, very impressive because his back was against the wall.
Yes.
Takakeisho had everything to lose. And Hoshoryu has not the best record against Takakeisho. That showed you how much he wanted to keep his Ozeki.
Yes.
Because I think he would have been fine if he went Kataban. He would have just cleared it next time.
He would have cleared it.
But that's not good enough for him.
Exactly.
That's what matters.
This was the story. I thought he was going to get Kataban because he's just too much. And again, this is how Hoshoryu handled all of this. Like when he came up to the top division, 8 and 7, 7 and 8, couldn't figure out this top division. There's too much pressure. Asanoyama keeps texting him, "Uncle, go away."
Putting tweets on.
Did tweets. Get off of Twitter.
Exactly.
And that was our jokes for a long time. And then he got his feet under him. He got hungry. He went up. Then he did the same thing in the top 5. Then he did the same thing in Sanyaku. And now he's doing the same thing in Ozeki, but he's doing it faster.
Right. His pace at which he is learning to adapt is getting better and better and better.
Yeah. So, final day, fights Hokuseiho. Not only does he beat a guy who probably could have beat him, because Hokuseiho, I'm pretty sure he wanted that.
He wanted that because that was his chance to be in the playoff.
That was his chance. So Hoshoryu also does it in a very Hoshoryu way. With the leg, trips with one leg, reaches and grabs the other one.
Yeah, that was...
Who does that?
Because I'll tell you right now, if he just tripped with the one, he might not have taken him down.
Yeah. So in his mind, he's just like, I'm going to trip. I'm going to do the leg grab. He's going to take that risk on 7 and 7 with his Katoban status on the line. Going to go for the crazy leg trip throw because he believes he can get it done. And
that's what matters, is the belief in himself, which has, once again, only grown.
Only grown.
His stock in my eyes has been raised immensely. And it was already pretty high, but it's like, that's Yokozuna level thinking.
Yes.
That's Yokozuna level performances. And, not to spend too much time more on Takakeisho, but the truth is, you might see a Hoshoryu Yokozuna way before you'd see a Takakeisho.
This is what that last win told me. And the win against Takakeisho, because Takakeisho wanted that too.
Yeah.
The win against Gonoyama, that whole last 5 days.
His Kirishima is in his head.
A little bit.
Because he's very even with him in terms of everything.
It's such a good rivalry, though.
That is the ultimate rivalry right there.
It's very good. So I'm looking at this. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking there's going to be a day, and that day is going to be soon for Hoshoryu, where Ozeki, it is just another stepping stone.
Yes.
This is what I'm seeing.
Yes. This man is going places. Give it, 5 years, and we're watching Yokozuna Hoshoryu versus Yokozuna Kirishima. Mm-hmm. And maybe Ozeki Atami Fuji.
Maybe. Not so maybe.
I mean, he could be Yokozuna too for all we know, but who knows? The Ozeki thing is just so cursed.
It's very cursed. Because it's a crap place to be.
It's such a crap place.
It's such a crap place to be. So well done, Hoshoryu. 8 and 7. Almost had to go on that comeback trail. Decides it is beneath him.
I really hope that he's going to start the new precedent of not doing the Kataban back and forth.
And if we look at a lot of these losses he had, like the loss to Ura, the loss to Shodai in particular,
that was a tough one because Shodai really came at him in that one.
He did come at him, but then Hoshoryu had the counter, but then Hoshoryu basically threw himself out.
Exactly.
This stuff. It's not going to happen in November. It's not going to happen in January. It's never going to happen again.
It's in the memory bank now of, okay, if I want to try to throw Shodai, I need a few steps back. Because Shodai is suddenly going to wake up once in a while and come at me.
Yeah. We'll talk about Shodai. He was a fun.
Freaking Shodai.
Oh my goodness. Every time I think I have him figured out.
I would say that is true possibly for many of these wrestlers. Obviously it's true for Takakeisho as well, and a little bit Kotonowaka.
A little bit.
We're going to talk about him too.
A little bit. Oh, man. Somehow we're going to have to talk about all 42 of these people.
I know, it's just not.
There's so much.
There's so much to say.
So much. All right, so next up, over to Sekiwake. Daieisho, Sekiwake 1 East, 10 and 5. He fell off. Everyone's right. This 2 and 4 start.
I had written him off completely.
Written him off. There was weird footwork issues. He was pulling. It's a very if Daieisho pulls, something's wrong.
Yeah, that's a bad sign for him.
Yep. Getting outfoxed. Not really the things that happen to him, or the things that happen when he's slipping. And then comes this this 8-win absolute murder streak, including Asanoyama, who I've been treating him as Sanyaku, if not Ozeki level opponent.
Right, regardless.
Despite his rank. Wakamotoharu, so beats his compatriot. This is Takayasu still high up.
Right, and that was an important match for Takayasu.
Very important loss. Beats Atamifuji. Mm-hmm. Beats Gonoyama.
And Gonoyama really gave it to him, too.
Really gave it
way more than he gave to Takakeisho.
The Kirishima win means more to me than the entire rest of this whole thing.
Yes, and I'll be honest with you, I really thought he was going to beat Takakeisho today.
I would have bet the money. I felt like it was him, but Takakeisho is just...
He just got his number.
He's got his number, and there are people like that.
There are. Like, there's all sorts of, like, regardless of rank, this guy I can't beat.
Kirishima loses to Takanosho, which initially you think, he does have this, he's still working through things, he's got these momentary lapses. Takanosho's like 9-1 against him. Takanosho
exactly.
knows what to do. There are these weird little somebody, the way the brain's wired, you can just beat somebody way out of your punching range because
you just know
know them.
Yeah.
Mystery.
It is a mystery.
For Daieisho, it's Takakeisho, it's the other way around. But so for Daieisho, keeps losing to Kirishima, famously loses twice to Kirishima in the same way, loses again the next tournament.
Speaking of someone in his head.
In his head.
Kirishima is...
And the way he beat him, the double arm lock, leans back, yanks him over. Oh my good.
That's almost like what Kirishima would do to somebody else.
I've never seen Daieisho do that before.
I've never seen him do that.
And he does it to Kirishima, and then he wins. I'm like, what?
Well, that means he's figured something out.
He's figuring something out. Now, I would say this is step 1 on the Ozeki run. I think he was a 9-6 in July. But this is a way to restart it compared to his other Sekiwake compatriots who are now treading water. Yeah,
Daieisho has decided that he is not giving up on Ozeki.
Unfortunately, this happened, at least to these two. The last time is that Daieisho was that one step ahead, but he just couldn't...
He couldn't get over the hump.
But the thing is that like in this... That Ozeki promotion is that battle of inches. So if you have that step ahead...
It means everything.
It means everything. So if this is the difference between 32 and 33 wins come March.
Yeah, it is.
So very promising. And then again, to then win it against people that have beaten him and against people who are bringing it.
So I'm imagining a scenario where Daieisho, you mentioned March. It's March, and Daieisho defeats either Kirishima or Takakeisho to get his Ozeki spot.
He would.
That's what it's going to be. He's going to slay one of his demons to get his Ozeki.
Yes. We'll be talking about this with Wakamotoharu and Kotonowaka, is that there are people you have to beat.
Yes, or you don't get the prize.
Get it.
Yeah.
And now, again, this slow start, who knows? Who knows why? Who knows what? But the finish tells you at least part of it's there.
Yeah, and maybe Daieisho just was a little sore or something.
A little sore, slow start.
The adrenaline really takes the pain away, to be honest with you. When you start putting some wins together, you're like, I don't care that this hurts. But when you first start off, it's a little hard.
Yep, everything's a little rickety.
Yeah.
So, on to Wakamotoharu. Sekiwake won was 9-6. As we mentioned, treading water. Now, and almost everywhere else in this Banzuke, below him, a 9-6, you're doing pretty good. But Wakamotoharu is going to figure out that the 9-6s that got him here, because remember, there was that streak, 9-6, 9-6, 9-6. This guy just cannot be stopped. Now it's
9-6.
Now it's 9-6. Nice to meet you.
Right.
But it's his losses felt decisive. There was some stuff for Daieisho. It was,
if he had just done something a little better,
something a little bit here and there. For Wakamotoharu, it seems that some people they were able to get him on the Tachiai in such a way that he's just done. You can run him out quick, or if you can undo him and move fast enough, you can get in there. So he still has that work to do. Now it is one of those things. Maybe it's just a little. You just tighten that screw a little bit, and everything keeps holding together.
Well, I think he's losing his edge a bit. I think the Ozeki run took a lot out of him.
Probably.
And he did have, for the first part of that run, his brother. And so he had sort of all these little factors that were making this run possible. And then when it fell apart, You see a Wakamotoharu who looks just a little bit off. He's still a great wrestler, but he doesn't have the extra things you need to ascend to the rank.
I feel like I mentioned it on the podcast before. There was a sumo salon on NHK specifically about the Sekiwaki rank.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about, we talk about how horrible it is to be an Ozeki, and we also talk about how rough it is to be in Sekiwake because you've got nowhere to go but to Ozeki.
Right, and you have to put together 3 good tournaments to get out of that spot.
It's such a rough spot, and you have one bad tournament or even just a couple of bad losses.
And that's it, it's over.
You're doomed. So, let's say he beats Abi instead of losing him. Then he's a 10-5. All of a sudden,
or even Kotonowaka.
Beats Kotonowaka instead. This was a very, very interesting fight.
That match was everything for his world.
For Wakamotoharu, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the 10-5. Then you're where Daieisho is. 10-5 keeps the Ozeki run running. So now he, in his head, and this is probably what you're going at when you said wearing him down. He's like, I got to do 3 really good tournaments in a row. Again. You're just stuck.
Right. It's literally like treading water in the ocean with waves hitting you in the face.
In the face.
How much more water can you swallow before you're like, this isn't worth it?
You're treading water. You're just like, eventually the boat will show up.
Yeah, and that's where he's
the
at.
Ozeki boat. Yeah. It's so rough.
Yeah.
Well, the 9 wins were fun. This is. I feel like it's a given now that Wakamotoharu has good sumo, solid belt work. Worth noting that he beat Kirishima on the belt.
Very important.
Which is as much a knock for Kirishima as it is a benefit for Wakamotoharu. We mentioned in order to go up, you got to beat the people above you, and the people above you got to beat you back if they want to stay where they are. It's a Shark Tank up here. So I don't want the takeaway to be that Wakamotoharu is losing his edge.
No. It's just we're talking about the differences.
We want him to do that Ozeki jump, but the way he is, it's just not there yet.
Right, and maybe something will turn around. Maybe he'll find a piece of driftwood and can take a little rest.
And then it will be interesting if he stays here, and then if Wakatakakage comes back in May, see if he gets it back going again. We'll see.
If he gets his training partner back and his enthusiast.
Could be as early as January if Wakatakakage is, even if he's in Juryo.
If Wakatakakage comes back that early, I'm just going to be like, he is amazing.
Yeah. Well, I figure that he's in Juryo in January.
Yes.
And then he's in the top division in May, but if he's in Juryo, then that means he's giving it to Wakamotoharu in the training room, which is what he needs.
Yes, he needs his brother back.
He does. So, next up, Kotonowaka, 9-6, Sekiwaki 2 East. So, I was on this train.
I picked him as the Yusho winner.
I thought that 11-4 was the beginning of great things.
I will say this, though. For Kirishima and Kotonowaka, we didn't exactly curse them. They had good tournaments.
They did have good tournaments. Our curse is doing a little better these days.
Yeah, so, they didn't win, but we did not contribute. It was their own stuff.
So there was some really razor-thin fights. He had a couple go to the judges. There was the weird not Mata with Hokutofuji.
Yeah.
That is another side thing going on here. I don't think we mentioned that.
We did not mention the issues.
The referee judges had a bit of a lapse too. I think the referees and the judges were 9-6 this tournament.
Yeah. So, if they're upset about the end result, they can also look inwardly to themselves.
There's a lot of people that need to be yelled at, I think.
Yeah, and I think there probably will be some big meeting and everybody gets in trouble.
This is the principal comes into the classroom kind of a day.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, everybody's going to detention or getting a pay cut.
That's gonna be some of that, and so some of that took a knock off of Kotonowaka, sure. And again, a lot of his losses were to there's Kirishima, there's Takakeisho, there's Asanoyama.
Gotta beat those guys.
There's, again, his fellow Sekiwake Daieisho does get the Wakamotoharu. Again, this is the if he was 8-7, it would be a disaster.
Yeah.
And for a moment there, I was wondering.
It was looking like it might be.
For a moment there, it was looking worse. I'm like, oh no, is he going to fall into Kamasubi?
Mm-hmm.
But he held it together. beats Abi. Abi being himself.
I was gonna say Abi is straight up villain at this point.
Straight up, villain. But we'll get to him in a minute. But his sumo was actually a lot stronger
Then it's Ben.
which is paradoxical. But anyway, so unfortunately, there's going to be no Kotozakura in our future. He needs to dig a little deeper, fight a little harder.
Yes, he does.
Something to keep in mind is that he's not been here nearly as long. So
no, and we're all impatient.
we're fidgety. We're a fidgety bunch here.
But it is disappointing that he's not there yet.
Yeah.
I thought he was there already, and it's like, no, we're in the same weird
thing. So, and for him, these again, some of these losses were razor thin. Mm-hmm. Fighting Daieisho nearly has Daieisho, but Daieisho is just put together just a little bit better.
Well, Daieisho's so gritty at this point.
Oh my god!
And he's got all the experience behind him.
This is if he fought Daieisho over here, he would have won. But he gets Daieisho right when
that's when he turned the whole thing
the
around.
calluses start hardening up.
Exactly.
So just bad luck, really.
Yeah. But you make your own luck in a way. If he just sort of finds a way to go to the next level, the luck starts to shift on his side a little bit.
A little bit. And
your toes are in the ring.
Thinking back, Kotonowaka had the same issue a little bit lower down. That he had a lot of that. He was a mono-e king for a while.
Yeah.
He rides that line.
And you don't really want to be there because
No.
the judges could have an off day, and there's your tournament.
And I think we might have said the same thing to him, is that, on one hand, sometimes it is better to be lucky than good, but on the other hand, if it never goes to the judges, and you'll never lose something you thought you won.
Yeah, and you don't want to be living with those kinds of regrets.
You don't want those. But he's also pretty young. He's got
Give it time.
Plenty of time. Don't listen to us nervous Nellies over here just wanting our next Yokozuna now.
It's our job to be upset about everything, right?
Everything. Why where's your white belt? Come on.
Right,
come
exactly.
On. God, we need to sell
You're Yokozuna tomorrow.
I know. Tomorrow, come on. Why weren't you yesterday?
Exactly.
You should have been Yokozuna promoted in mid-Basho.
I'm done with you. I have written you off.
Writing you out of the inheritance.
I actually think we're not that bad. We actually give people a pretty good leeway.
Well, it's because we want them all to do well.
Right. We literally are not rooting against anybody ever.
We don't.
We're not haters.
It's too much effort to be a hater.
It is. It is.
And all these people, they're so fun.
They are, and it's like they all bring their own thing in there. And even the villainous guys, like the Abi villainous stuff, it's kind of comical.
Well, the boring people, they never make it to the top division.
No, they don't. They retire at 19 because they're like, this sucks.
Yeah. Well, and good luck to them too. Thank you for your service, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, maybe you'll write a cool book or something.
Yeah. There was one of the people on the Sumo Salon, NHK, again, shout out to NHK content for everything, including a lot of sumo stuff. They've been doing. I think that one of their guest people was a singer.
Oh yeah.
And the singer mentioned that he was in sumo for a few years, but he was fifth division. So he did sumo for like 4 years as a kid, drops out of that, and then he becomes a professional singer.
Right. So there might be a way better career out there.
So this guy, he had that J-pop singer build.
Uh-huh.
He's lanky and sort of like the very beautiful face.
Uh-huh.
And then he's just oh yeah, I did sumo, and they pull up pictures. I'm just
what?
You fooled me.
Yeah.
I've been fooled in real time. Anyway, completely off topic. Kotonowaka, nice 9-6, please. Please double digits next time. Nishikigi, unfortunately, double digits in the wrong way. Komusubi East, 1 East, 5-10. Now, keep in mind, Sanyaku curse. We've had so many exceptions lately that we forget the curse is there for a reason.
Yes.
So, worth noting that 3 of those 5 wins are over Asanoyama, Hoshoryu, and Kirishima.
Right. So it's he still is the guy who's a really great fighter, but don't forget, he actually got injured right before the tournament as well.
Yes, he was slowing down.
Yeah.
There were multiple force out and shove out matches on him. He doesn't lose those normally. That's what got him here.
Right.
Is that people try to move him, and then he just decides not to, and he does that Terunofuji clamp throw
And just sort of like dumps you out.
and then has an expression like nothing happened. That's normally what his deal is. So the 5 and 10, that's injury, that's probably mostly nerves.
Right, because now he's finally, this is his first stint in the Sanyaku.
Yeah.
He's a little hurt, and he's facing all the hardest opponents, and he still managed to beat 3 of the hardest.
3 of the hardest. So like when you beat a lot of the Ozeki and then you don't do too well otherwise, it's it's not that bad. It means you're down but you're not out.
Right. He can recover from this.
Yes. And again, like you get that you have to touch Sanyaku, you fall out of it, and then the second time you touch it, it's a bit of a better grip. Typically.
Yeah, because you kind of don't know what it's like until you do it.
You got to do it.
And that's where the curse comes from.
Exactly. And again, it's just rare that recently some people have just shaken the curse. And
Those are exceptional
We
folk.
have to keep in mind these are exceptions and not to get super worried if one of your new favorites is a 5 and 10.
Right. It happens.
It happens. You just got to let it go. You got to let it go. All right. So, speaking of, Tobizaru, I feel bad for Tobizaru.
Now, Tobizaru, this is his second time in Sanyaku?
Second or third time. 6 and 9 at Kamasubi. One, that's supposed to be one west. So, he goes back to his old school dancing, parrying.
For what reason, I don't know.
Don't know. Mixed results, though. So, works on Hoshoryu. That surprised me. This if you want to know if Hoshoryu has nerves, it's Tobizaru's up to tricks and he still beats Hoshoryu.
Yeah, that was a sign that Hoshoryu wasn't quite himself.
Quite there. Tobizaru still beats an Ozeki. Props to him. Does the same thing to Takakeisho.
Yeah, now that was almost the tournament for Takakeisho.
This was an interesting fight because Tobizaru basically like out mind games Takakeisho. I was like, whoa. That's
a future, like, Takakeisho's going to have to watch him. Because he kind of seems to have Takakeisho's number. Like, he knows which kind of monkey tricks to do. Because he knows if he tires Takakeisho out, he's going to win the match.
He's got the longer the match goes, the better his chances of winning it.
So if Takakeisho never hits him on the Tachi-Eye quite hard enough, he's going to win the match.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something still there in Tobizaru, but...
Yeah, no, a lot of this stuff on the end, I don't know if it's him getting tired. I don't know if it's just these people have an eye on him. The loss against Takayasu, he got dumped.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, Takayasu's thinking in the back of his mind, here comes Tobizaru to ruin my Yusho dreams again.
And I'm not going to... Yeah, I'm not going to let it happen.
And then he just throws the guy out there, and Tobizaru took a minute to get back up.
Yeah, which means by the time he fought Gonoyama, he might have been a little
roughed up. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like he's just trying his best.
That is what it seems like when he's out there.
So a lot of these people we talk about how they're trying to get up, they're trying to hold, they're trying to hold their rank, they're trying to get higher, everybody's climbing and hungry. And then Tobizaru is like the pizza delivery driver when the Avengers have to defend Manhattan. And he's just like, I'm just delivering pizzas here, and there's an alien spaceship crashed on Main Street.
And they're like, here, they hand him a weapon, they say, just get in there.
Just get in there. He's just like, I don't do this. He's like,
You do now.
It's just like, I'll throw pizzas, I guess. Yeah,
that is the equivalent of Tobizaru sumo sometimes.
That is the sumo. That's what it felt like this tournament. Because this isn't what I call, it's not like the Monkey King sumo when he gets in there and he's super serious.
Yeah, he seemed a little less.
He was more of that playful parry, which again, it worked against important people.
Well, it might be exactly the same thing as Nishikigi. It's not his first time in, but it's like, okay, I'm in the Sanyaku now. Maybe he doesn't have enough confidence.
Hiro made mention. Shout out to Sumo Primetime.
Yeah, those live streams are pretty cool.
Really good live streams. He's doing a lot of videos. God bless him. Like, follow, subscribe, Sumo Primetime. Get him when he needs. Anyway, he had made mention. He had a few like really small like Heroes takes videos.
Yes.
One of them he makes mention that in his opinion, a lot of people were looking at wins and losses and weren't looking at quality of sumo,
which is pretty typical.
Which, not going to say that's Tobizaru's problem, but there is the larger sports issue, particularly in solo sports, where you're not playing to win, you're playing to not lose.
Right.
So if you get in your own head about that, even if you are, worthy of what you're doing, if you are capable of doing it, you can sort of tilt your head the wrong way.
Yes, and that's been a story for Tobizaru for some time.
Yes.
That's something that's followed him specifically.
Sometimes it feels like it's figured out and then sort of pulls back a little bit. So there's a pullback. I still think there's a future that he's in Sanyaku for a little, like a career Sanyaku kind of a guy.
But that is going to be dependent on what these new guys do, too.
This is going to be his problem.
The soldiers are coming up.
There is going to be, half dozen people coming for those ranks in 6 months?
Some of them look really impressive.
Some of them may not be in Sanyaku for long because they're going up.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild.
Those Yokozunas are coming, guys. Don't worry.
So Tobizaru is definitely going to be in a bad spot.
Yeah, he's got
again, I'm looking, imagine, if he has to fight a game Hakuoho, a game of Fuji, a game Gonoyama, Asanoyama, and then he's fighting all the people he's already fighting. It's like, where does this poor guy get a win?
Yeah.
Who's he going to get dirt on?
Yeah, that is the position that he's going to find himself in pretty soon.
And this is the panic.
Yeah, and that's probably why he's like, let me try some of this other stuff.
Tobizaru, just try and hang in there, okay?
There's a lot of guys you can say that about, too, though.
There's a few.
Like Onosho.
The person we're about to talk about.
Oh, yeah. He's the one who's got to worry first.
So, that was all Sanyaku. Now we're going to talk about Megashira 1 East, my boy Hokutofuji 8-7 back in Sanyaku. Boop, 8-7 doesn't matter.
Yeah, no Hokutofuji Yusho this time,
no
even though
Yusho.
Man.
Day 3. Now, it historically it has been Yusho race doesn't matter, sumo doesn't matter until day 8. The first 7 days everybody's just having fun.
Yep.
But I was so tempted after day 3. He put because after July.
Where he was so close.
And then he starts out by beating all 3 Ozeki. I'm like, oh, it's time. And then reality catches up.
So I hope you don't hate me because I was posting Hokutofuji
No,
Yusho stuff.
Always do it.
Okay.
My optimism knows no bounds when it comes to Hokutofuji.
Yeah, I assumed that I was okay to do that. Always. Even if he's 3-12.
If he is 1-14, you say Hokutofuji Yusho.
Awesome.
Always.
Because I just immediately did it, not because I thought for sure, but just because I knew that it's always appropriate.
It's always appropriate.
So
every time. Yeah. So
still, getting into Sanyaku, he hasn't done that in quite some time.
So he had 2 not madas. One he won against Kotonowaka, and one he lost against Onosho.
Sort of balanced it out.
The look of guilt on Onosho's face made the whole travesty worth it. Because he's looking over at Hokutofuji, he's just like, I guess I won.
I'm sorry
I won.
Yeah. Can't we just have a do-over?
Onosho wanted that fight.
He's like, can we just come on, man?
Onosho had momentum. He wanted it. He didn't want to win on a technicality.
No.
He had a shovel in his hand.
Yeah.
And he wanted to bury people. And so he got that win.
I thought we were going to get blood in that match because that's usually a head-on-head.
Head-on.
Beat each other up, and it's like,
yeah,
fell apart.
Yeah, so Hokutofuji, I feel like he earned that 8-7.
Yeah.
Because the weird Mata thing canceled each other out, so it doesn't count. He's doing some not pushing stuff and either forcing errors or doing grappling and shoving.
Which is probably why he got the 8-7.
Probably why. So it's the similar to Gonoyama an extent, and in a way what Takakeisho's doing. A lot of these pusher thrusters, they're finding out that if you have these other tricks, it's how you get forward.
Yeah.
So now despite my blind optimism, I'm definitely going to let fate take its course in November when it comes to him being on a Kamasubi. But regardless, he got it. It's an 8-7, so that is a celebration.
So expect to see more Hokutofuji Yusho videos.
Always.
They're coming no matter what their score is. Because we don't believe in jinxes with him.
No, God. Doesn't work.
Nope.
All right. So, next up, Meisei. Making sure one was 7 and 8. There's a few people who showed that they have what it takes, but they just can't do it all 15 days. Meisei is one of those people. He fought backwards for half the fight, for half the tournament. He's doing slap downs. He's moving back. He's pivoting. He's running around rings. So then he's fighting Shodai, and like he borrows move for move a Shodai or a Hoshoryu leg trip that he clearly learned from Hoshoryu.
From either it being done to him or watching him do it.
So he trained a leg trip, figured it out, and then used it against Shodai. And Shodai was this
way better Shodai than
week 2. Shodai was no slouch.
Yeah.
So he gets one on Shodai in week 2. So like he's doing this kind of sumo and then doing a lot of like running backwards. There's another problem he has, that he has the tendency to step out in mid-match because he can't find the ring.
Yeah, and that's something that, I mean, that's some basics.
Yeah.
Having some sumo sense is a basic thing you should train. So if you're having that problem, that explains why he can't get better than he is.
Yeah, it's a little weird thing. But I'm almost going to 100% forgive him because his match with Ura, they just smashed and smashed and smashed.
Wild.
Oh my God. We don't have Chionokuni anymore, right?
Right.
We don't have Takayasu anymore. Who's gonna brawl?
Right. We need some brawlers.
So God bless. And also like the fact that like when Earl won, like he couldn't even walk back. He leaned over, gasping for breath, dazed and confused.
Sort of like walking in a
staggered a little bit. So Meisei delivered where it counted, but unfortunately for him, I feel like maybe he just needs more confidence.
Yeah, and maybe just that workhorse mentality is not focused enough.
It's some of it is working against him.
Yeah. Somebody actually asked me on live stream, how do you know he's a hard worker? All I can say to you is he seems like a hard worker when he's in the ring.
Yeah.
It just seems like he's giving it his all. So I feel like he would be giving it his all in training, but who knows?
But I feel also this is a sign of the times that I think I definitely said this about him before, that Sanyaku level Meisei, like he may be right back where he was before, but it's just the sumo is getting so much better.
Right, it's inching.
It's inching, so he needs to inch back. So next up, oh boy, Abi makes here too. He's 9-6. So his 2 henkas and the weird slapdown stuff, it's stuck in my head. So
Was it only 2? Because I thought he was up to 3. I could be wrong.
Failed henka.
Okay.
Wins on henka.
Okay.
I think somebody caught him out and punished him, but
yeah, somebody did. I forget who it was though.
So in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, he's back to like villain mode, and he still is.
Yeah.
He had solid what we call the A brand sumo against the people that mattered. Wakamotoharu, Daieisho, Kirishima. All 3 of these forward sumo, blasting into people, destroying them before they have a chance. Again, Daieisho, Kirishima, Wakamotoharu. People, like, these are the people that
they can match him blow for blow.
If anybody's going to figure him out, it's going to be them, and he beat them on his game. So that kind of sumo's going on. And then he does the weird push-pulls, and he does henkas, and he does weird stuff, and he's got that smug face the whole time.
Oh, yeah, like, even after I think he had back-to-back days with those henkas. Like, there might have been the failed one and the win one that was back-to-back. And he didn't look like he was shameful.
No.
He was, like, kind of smiling, like...
Yeah. and then Ura gave a lot of people trouble. God bless him.
Ura was in...
This was
in great form.
Great Ura.
Oh, I love that
And
Ura.
he's just like, you're not doing that to me today. So, like... Abi, like, capable of really good sumo, showing really good sumo, and then just henkaing one day. It's confusing almost, because he's going to be in Sanyaku very likely with that 9-6. I'm actually going to be interested if they're going to give Asanoyama a Sanyaku slot as well. Have there be 3
they might.
Kamasubi, because they're not, well, Hokutofuji clinched it.
Well, they're in a
Abi's
position
next.
where if they really want to make Asanoyama back in Sanyaku, they have to do it for Abi, or else they can't justify it.
Well, right here, yeah. It would either be Hokutofuji and Abi, or it would be the 3 of them.
Right, so the way I see it is, it depends on, do they really dislike Abi sumo so much that they say no? Or do they really love Asanoyama that much that they're willing to deal with Abi?
I think they're gonna do that. I think because really, if you're only gonna have 2 Komusubi, you have to bench Asanoyama because these 2 people are just higher up.
Right.
Like it's hard to argue quality of sumo when the records are the same.
Right, and Asanoyama, whether you thought it was fair or not, got demoted not because of injury but because of protocol.
Yeah.
So it's only right to get him up to Sanyaku if he earns it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Quicker than because he lost 2 years. So.
Yeah. So in any case, Abi's gonna have another chance at Sanyaku. That is typically where the panic sets in for him.
Right.
So this could be interesting.
That means way more Abi B sumo.
Abi beats, unfortunately.
I'm gonna be singing the henka song over and over and over again.
I am hoping he focuses on these 3 wins and like these wins. And
we know he watches tape.
He does. So hopefully, I am going to be optimistic, but also understand the history of this.
Yeah.
A little bit. So we were just talking about him in context. Asanoyama, Megashira 2 West, 9-6. Holy moly! This guy, I think, had a broken toe like the whole time.
Yeah.
Torn bicep. He fought this well against these opponents while not at 100%.
He has reached a different level. This is like back against the wall, Asanoyama. This is I gotta win, Asanoyama. Like, this is a different guy than the one who became Ozeki because he was talented and had all these like hiccups. Like, he's really being pushed to his brink and he's bringing it.
There were some of his a lot of wins, just the typical grab and go. Some of the wins were so decisive, were so powerful. It was that you don't belong in the ring with me kind of win. And like, he's doing this against Wakamotoharu. He's doing this against Shonannoumi, another belt guy. He's doing this against Mitakeumi, who found his way again. People who would give him a fight, but he beats them in such a way that it just makes them look bad.
And he played spoiler, really, in this whole playoff situation because...
It all came down to him.
Yeah, if Tomifuji had somebody different, he might have won the Yusho.
Oh, God, yes.
But this Asanoyama is not going to let you win the Yusho when he wants the win.
Yeah. If he... Tomifuji beats Abi the day before. Abi's not going to hold him off. Asanoyama's just like, no, you're not ready.
Old Asanoyama would have lost.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he would have those blips, and he'd be frustrated, and he'd be almost like, oh. This Asanoyama is like, nah.
Yeah, old Asanoyama already cleared Kachikoshi. Not in the Yusho race. In his own head. Not sure if he's truly Ozeki.
Mm-hmm.
He loses. This Asanoyama, he gives one look at Tomifuji, and he says, not today.
Yeah, and he affected the whole tournament. And that's got to give you a little bit of a... of a good feeling.
He fought this well again, knowingly injured to the point that people were like, "Are you sure you're gonna fight?" And
I didn't think he was gonna fight.
And he was just like, "I have to," and he sure as hell did.
I hope he heals a lot.
Yeah, well,
between now and November.
It's one of those things that like the injury just happened at a bad time. So I'm thinking, come November, knock on wood, that nothing new happens.
Toe should be fine.
Toe's fine. The bicep thing, it's already on the mend.
Right.
Should be back.
Guy fought with like one arm and one
and
foot.
9-6 at 2 West.
I know.
Oh, man,
I'm on the Asanoyama hype train for the first time in his entire career.
I think I'll be upset if he isn't in Sanyaku. I think a lot of people realize this.
Yeah.
But I think also, like, if they put him at 1 East and he gets double-digit wins, and they may sort of let that count...
they could. I think they should just make it. Make it clean and put him in Sanyaku.
Just put him 2 East, Kamasubi 2 East, and be done with it.
Yeah.
And just let him go from there.
You've done it plenty of times. Now is a good opportunity to do it again.
Might as well. So, Shodai, Megashira 3 East, 8-7 somehow, like right here.
What a weird tournament for him.
My goodness. So. There were some wins that I almost call accident wins. Particularly when he fought Oho right here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So Oho gets in on him. Shodai he's pushed back. But he's able to hold enough, but he's clearly just all he's doing is being defensive. Then Oho pulls because Oho is in his own head as well. And then Shodai is dragged forward. But Oho doesn't actually pull him hard enough to actually knock him down. Noho just pulls himself out. I am reminded, there's a there's a funny meme online of Mario Party where they're all in the balls and there's that ice thing and Luigi just stands still and does nothing and he wins because that was
everybody else. Yeah.
That was Shodai a few matches that he just showed up, and then sometimes he's just the fact that he can passively defend a lot of stuff. He didn't attack at all. He just won.
Well, see, that's the thing. That is when you talk about the fundamentals. Just showing up and just doing your best, quote unquote, is what you're supposed. Is the mindset you're supposed to have. And that's like Shodai never transitioned from that to like greater things.
No.
So if you're not on guard, Shodai's going to win.
So there is an exception to this, which is back against the wall Shodai is as strong as ever. Because these last 4 days, this was like Ozeki level.
Particularly the Takarafuji match, because Takarafuji was trying
They were both 7-7.
Yep.
Takarafuji was not having it. He's like, I am not getting Makakoshi. I worked too hard for this. And then Shodai was just like, wait a minute, I don't want to lose either.
I know. And that exact type of temperament.
Yep. So also keep in mind, we were talking all that game about Asanoyama beating people. In what universe does Shodai beat Asanoyama? But this universe, by the way, and then
that was a shock to me.
Charges with anger and aggression, gets Asanoyama out, basically uses his own playbook against him, and then does the funniest mean mug I have ever seen. Go back. He looks like he looks like a mean teddy bear. He's pouty and mad. I'm just like, you're too adorable for this to work.
Well,
you can tell he's mad about something and fired up.
The interesting thing about that match is that Shodai has faced Asanoyama when they were Ozeki together, and I feel like they know each other inside and out.
There is a lot of that known sumo between them.
So I think Shodai had some extra confidence in that match, kind of like, Asanoyama's forgotten about me. But they used to clash over and over and over again when they were both doing the Ozeki thing, so...
Yeah, so this right here, because right here, he was 5-7, wins out. Nishikigi fading, but still Nishikigi, still a good fight. I feel like Nishikigi on a good day and Shodai on a day that's not with 7 losses, Nishikigi gets that.
Yeah.
So back against wall Shodai is as strong as ever, despite not being an Ozeki. And maybe that's a good sign for him because it means that there's still a fire.
Yeah, I mean, all he needs to do is just win Yushos because he doesn't want to be Ozeki. So keep fighting like this and like...
He's fine. It's fine. It's playing foils, just messing.
Yeah.
Beats Takakeisho, by the way.
Yeah. Which, Yeah,
well, that was Takakeisho just couldn't get him out. It was a weird...
That was a weird match.
Weird match.
Of course, like, as we were saying, Takakeisho doesn't have the juice anymore.
No.
Old Takakeisho would have blasted him out in 2 pushes and there wouldn't have been a thing.
No, he just fell right into Shodai's passive ring edge
manipulation. Shodai, like, absorbs your energy and then, like, pushes it back on you.
He's such a weird place.
He's as close to, like, a magical person as could exist in real life.
He is Magic Sumo Man.
He is. And that's why it's like some days he's just out of magic.
There's no magic. He just shows up. He's like, oh, no.
Oh, it's an off day.
Yeah, then he shows up to Asanoyama just like, you're going to die.
And I'm going to show you my face.
Oh, God bless you, Shodai. God bless you. That's all I can say.
Always entertaining.
All right, we're going to take this moment to be very upset.
Very.
Tamawashi, 3 West, 2-13. This is what I was afraid of.
I knew this day would come someday, but it seems too soon.
When he got promoted before, and we're seeing him all the way up there, and like at 5-6, remember beforehand, like he did he wasn't winning in Puss Sumo, but he had the 9-6, and he's gotten up there, and we're like, either he gets his power back, or he's going to get absolutely demolished. And he didn't get his power back.
His power is gone.
It's gone.
I don't know if it's a situation where it can come back or not, but like, there's no more Nodowa.
So he had some success in losses that he put up a pretty good fight, and it's more accurate, I think, to say that his power isn't gone, but it's lowered to the point that the people specifically up here can deal with it.
Right.
'Cause there's a lot of times like he would hit hard. I think it was like day 1 against Nishikigi. Like, sometimes like the tachi is so loud you can hear it through the TV.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of those. Ugh!
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man.
Somebody
like if you heard that kind of an impact in real life and sumo wasn't going on,
you would call the cops.
You'd be like, somebody just got beaten. There got to be a broken face.
There was a car crash. There was something.
Like you expect to turn the corner and see like a guy collapse on the sidewalk bleeding out.
Yes.
That's the kind of tachiai, but it was against Nishikigi, who can deal with it. And that's his problem. Also, the win against Chiyoshima was actually more concerning than like he pushing back against Hoshoryu and for a minute maybe winning, but in the back of your mind you didn't know. Like he struggled in this win.
He looked like a shell of a man.
He was like Chiyoshima was dragging him around, putting him through his paces. In the middle, I'm just like, no, not him.
Yeah,
barely wins. And charitably, they give him Daieisho after that. But
that was nice of them.
That was a nice little. There's a few people that got thrown bones.
Yeah. Well, you heard the crowd when Tamawashi won the first match.
Nobody wants to see the 0 and 15.
Nobody wants to
especially
see it. With somebody who's been around that long.
So long.
And he has to stick it out through the whole tournament because of the Iron Man or the record.
Yep.
So it's like you can only hope that he goes back home and just gets some extra sleep because he's not going to be able to stay in sumo like this. He's going to eventually have to take a tournament off or retire.
It was rough.
And I don't know what's in his head. Like, does he retire the second he can't fight a tournament?
It is a weird thing. Who was it? Who recently he had the long run out of it. Bumpity sumo guy.
Koto Shokiku?
That one. He had a run for a very, very long time.
Yes.
He had and then he finally broke the one and broke his streak. He had to sit it out, and when he came back,
it just wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same. I feel like it would be the same thing. There was that scare for a while when when they benched him on COVID too.
Yeah, which doesn't count.
They hand waved it, which is nice of them, and conveniently we all forgot about it, except for sorry.
Yeah,
guys.
what's up with that?
I know it's my fault again. So I would agree that maybe Tamawashi in the back of his mind is just like this record. Maybe maybe the Cal Ripken effect is just what's helping him out there, but.
Right.
And charitably getting knocked down to make sure a 10, 11, maybe.
That'll make life easier.
Maybe.
But it's like, what do you really want to get out of it at this point? He's, 37? So it's just a question of how much longer does he want to stay in sumo.
Well, it could have been that he was waiting for Tamashoho to show up.
Which is not going to happen now.
So
what a disappointment that was.
Rough. But it's
so close.
It's tough even in Juryo, guys.
Yeah, it's tough. It's getting harder and harder.
You've got to go very far down if you want an easy time in sumo.
Yeah. Like I think it was Jonidan, like a 37-year-old one or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe go back to Jonidan if you want it easy.
Get some Sadanoumi if you don't want to get a J.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
You're still killers down there. Anyway, so Tamawashi, bad time of it. Hope it's nothing really bad. I hope he just got his ass kicked.
Yeah, like you have an off.
You just have an off tournament. He just finally found his ceiling.
Yeah.
So this one, I hope this isn't finding a ceiling for Takanosho.
We were starting to feel optimistic.
A little optimistic. Mega 04E 6-9. He was losing a lot on the tachiai.
Which is everything if you're a pusher thruster.
Yes.
Not that it isn't everything for everybody, but a pusher thruster lives and dies by the tachiai.
When he survived that tachiai, that's when what I'll say the resurgence of Sanyaku Takanoshi could really see it. That's when he had his defenses, his offense, his reading people, a lot of his movement. It was after that 2-3 second mark. And then if you're able to get him on the back foot, or if you just hit him clean, or you got the belt like right off the bit.
That's
had a bad
it.
Time.
Yep.
He did though. There was, he put Hoshoryu through his paces right here. So this is Hoshoryu fighting, basically knowing that Kadoban can happen. Does an epic belt fight with him,
which I didn't see coming.
Did not. Well, like on one hand you're like, man, you don't want to be on that belt, but on the other hand, he's in the back of his mind just like, I have to try this.
Yeah.
He's confident enough. Not to pull, not to run away, but to just go after him with the belt. Say, I'm going to give him a try.
Yeah.
For me, that means just as much. Because if like pretty much a lot of other people, when Hoshoryu's in that position, you just pull, you run away, you pull, you try to get out, and then he just runs you out.
Right.
And he knew that. So there's some part of Takanosho in there. He's just like, I got to try this stuff. I've got to work through it.
Right. I got to stop getting intimidated and just do what I got to do.
Yeah. That's a confidence. It's that
He must be doing some secret training.
secret training. Though Takakeisho did some belt stuff too.
He did. I mean, Takakeisho would most certainly do belt sumo if he was physically capable of it.
Yeah, those arms are too short.
Yeah, all of these pusher thruster guys, and we'll get to Gonoyama in particular on that, all of these pusher thrusters can do belt sumo. Everybody kind of trains in it. Takakeisho actually can't.
So, optimistically, Takanosho he hasn't had this kind of a level of tachi to deal with in a little while, and has to.
So it might be rust.
Might be a little bit of Sanyaku joy rust.
Yeah.
For the top 5.
6 and 9 is not great, but it's not a Tamawashi score. So I mean, you can think optimistically if you want.
For me, when you have double-digit losses, that's when you're really gonna fall. That is something went wrong. So the 6 and 9 is about as bad as you can get it without it being worse.
Yeah. Like with a guy who's about to retire, a 6 and 9 is like, okay, you did pretty good.
Yes. Yeah, we'll be talking about that very specific 6 and 9 in a little bit.
Yeah, we will.
But anyway, Takanosho not. I'm gonna be a little cautious in November. Tread carefully, but hope that he can rebound a little bit. I think it's
maybe trying some things.
Yeah, trying some things. Maybe he's not out of time yet. He's not, the egg timer isn't on him yet. So
no,
there's still more than enough time for him to work this through. Next up, Ura. Oh my goodness.
What a wonderful wrestler.
Oh my goodness. 4 West, 9 and 6, and somersaults and flips and cartwheels.
I was making a Abi henka count and a Ura flip count. So many
4 or
flips.
5?
Yeah, there was 5. 5 flips.
And just, oh my goodness. Who else is going to do this? Only him.
Well, what's funny about it is that's what they do in training. Like, at the end they do the slap and you do the roll or whatever. So it's like he doesn't want to crash and get hurt, so he just pulls out his training, and like nobody else does, maybe for pride reasons or something. Yeah. So it's just like when Ura's about to go out, he's like, pull on that training.
Yeah. So bag of tricks in full effect. I mean, he has the triple threat going on. That he's good on the belt, he's good at maneuvering, like the pivots, the reversals, the pulls, and he's good at push sumo. So it did feel like this tournament, like the bag of tricks was deep enough that he could figure out a way to win many times over.
There was one match in particular. Oh, yep. I have my notes here from it. When he fought Tsurugisho, he turned that match around on Tsurugisho. This was the beginning of the end for Tsurugisho. They're going back and forth trying to throw each other. And Tsurugisho had Ura. In the last minute grab of the thigh, he knocks Tsurugisho out of the match. And it's like, there's very few men who can turn a match.
To have the superior, sixth sense.
To try something. First of all, to have the balance to do it. But second of all, to have the guts to do it. And third of all, to have the technique. Very similar in the way like Hoshoryu did to Hokuseiho. You can never think you've beaten Ura until you actually see him flat on his back. Otherwise, he might beat you in the middle of the air.
Yeah, at the very last possible moment. Also, positive notes. So, Tamawashi having a bad time, but he's beating people above you is how you climb. And there are some people that can't do that. So, he beats Tamawashi. He beats Daieisho. He beats Hoshoryu. This reversal pull down on Hoshoryu, I mean, again, Hoshoryu having his nerves, but I'm giving this all to Ura.
Still, yeah.
Ura saw it. Like you said, he saw the opening. He's just like, I can just drag you down right now. He had the power. He had the technique. He had the initiative. That's what was going on. And then he wins out here. Meisei higher up than him. Meisei doesn't want to be Makakoshi. So, these are some, legitimate wins against people who, have seen him.
And I'm pretty sure this is the best he's done this high up. At least in this stint. I don't know about his previous stint. But in this stint, Ura usually when he gets up this high, gets a 6 and 9.
Struggle. So this again, not just not a 9 and 6 where luck favored him.
No.
But a 9 and 6 where he won. and in some cases won in a situation where other people would have lost.
Yeah, and I think what it is about Ura, he's just a pure fighter. He doesn't have all this stuff going on in his head like, I want to be the next Ozeki, or I'm fighting this demon, or whatever. He's like, I'm just going to go in there and try some stuff, and when it's on, it's on.
Well, it's a love of the game kind of a thing. Like,
yes.
He's so expressive and emotive. Like we had made mention after he fought Meisei, like he's in the middle of, he's doing almost a comedic, leaning on his knees, catching his breath, doing 5 flips all over the time. Just
he can't help but be himself.
That is exactly it. He is being himself. He's expressing himself. He runs Hokutofuji out of the ring, and he does like this little backward shuffle.
Yeah.
To get back to his he like everybody else, they just turn, they walk, and they bow, and they leave. There's no expression. Ura just
like he's in the hallway, and he's just sprinting down the hall, and he's got the jolly smile.
So there is a truth to that. That like there is like for Ura, like there are no not like head empty. But like just like purity of connection between mind and body and spirit. It's just like
right, no ulterior motive.
No, it's just there's no doubts. There's no. It's the very very Goku level of fighting.
Yes,
We have a lot of Vegetas going on, a few Piccolos, maybe a couple Krillins, a Yamcha or two. But like this is like the pure like he's just like, oh yeah, we're just fighting
for the love of
fighting.
Right, not I want to be the most powerful guy of all time. It's I just want to fight.
Yeah, and like Goku, those are the people who tend to become the most powerful people.
True.
Don't tell Vegeta, he'll kill me.
Yeah, Vegeta's like, you know what? For 1 second, I was a little bit stronger than Goku. When I went Super Saiyan when he's all down and out with his heart virus.
Oh, God.
So, the Uras of the world make sumo worthwhile, for sure.
Yeah, we have long since said we shouldn't try to have optimism for Ura, for climbing, for ascending. I'm going to tell myself that again because when I was writing the notes, I'm like, ooh, maybe we have something. I'm just like, settle down.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. So we're gonna stay up. We're just gonna stay optimistic that he continues to enjoy himself.
Because he's gonna go up to like 1 or 2, depending on.
If he so happens to be in Sanyaku, it's going to be a surprise that we didn't talk about at all.
Yeah.
At all. We're not even thinking.
Well, there's the whole guess the Banzuke thing, so this would be fun. I'm gonna try it this time.
Ooh, very nice.
Just can you send me a link?
Yes.
Because I forget.
Yep, I'll send you a link.
When you send me links to things, then I do them.
Yeah. Also, guess the Banzuke happens a few weeks. Like you have a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it happens long enough after sumo ends that you sort of get into the habit of doing other things, and before you're in the real spirit of getting back into it. It's a great transition piece.
Yes.
To help the blues. But yeah, I'm still terrible at it.
Yeah, I like get to I start planning the sumo preview show, and I'm like, guess the Banzuke's over.
Yeah. Well, it's because we have the Banzuke's when we start planning.
Right. So it's like this time I'm waiting for the link. I'm doing it.
Yep. When I get the link, I'll send it.
Thank you.
All right. So, speaking about hope for the future. So for Ura again, we're not. It's gonna be hush hush. We're not gonna put anything on him because he doesn't want it and he doesn't care. For Gonoyama, 5 East, 9 and 6. Watch out.
I think I'm in love. I've decided that it isn't just. There are things I love about Takakeisho, but I've realized it really isn't just Takakeisho. I like the pusher thrusters, and Gonoyama can be both if he needs to be.
So from what I remember, like he trained belt and then went to pusher thruster because he was better at it.
And then Goedo said, "Don't do the belt. Stick to your pushing and thrusting."
So he has the belt in as a backup, as knowledge.
Which can only be the best combination ever.
Yeah. He's a threat everywhere. So
yep.
First off, he wins the Battle of the Brands.
He did.
Not only did he win in terms of record, he beat Shonannoumi on the day one.
So it's a nice clean
win. Nope, we're not putting shade on Shonannoumi.
Nope.
He has his own problems going on, and I think he still has a bright future. So, but Gonoyama, oh my goodness. The losses he had against Hoshoryu and Takakeisho, like all right here, this loss right here, because he was 6-2. So it was that weird. Everybody's in the Banzuke race because it was day 8, and
Right.
there was a lot of not that well going on upstairs. When he fights Takakeisho, like his role model, his mentor, his childhood friend, like the way he didn't fight, in the back of my mind, I'm just like, oh, it was nerves. I want it again. I want it again. But the fight's over, so we got to wait for November. So from this point forward, I'm already thinking about how much better he's going to be in November.
Oh, yeah.
Once this nerves go away. Like some of these, like the Hoshoryu was nerves. Daieisho.
He did give Hoshoryu a match, though.
He did give him a match, but like if he was just a little bit more,
Right.
I want it.
He literally, what you could say about him is he needs just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more, and I feel like it's already there. It's just that.
He has to get the experience.
He needs the experience. Like he needed to fight an Ozeki.
To know what it's like to fight an Ozeki.
When Gonoyama and Takakeisho fight again, Gonoyama's gonna be like, oh yeah.
I'm gonna be sweating when they fight again because I think that Gonoyama could eventually, because Takakeisho's a shell of his former self and Gonoyama's on the upswing. Yeah. I think he could take him.
Yeah. So another thing, this goes into the defense. He's one of the few people I've ever seen pry Ryuden off of him. The thing is, like, when Ryuden grabs you, that's
you're stuck.
You're stuck. And typically what happens is if people are grabbed by Ryuden, they work around the belt. Like, they drag him around. I believe that's what Kotoeko did. Is that, like, they run him in circles or they grab him back, and then they do their push grapple sumo. They don't just casually break off bear traps from their mawashi and then go on the offensive and knock the guy up and back. So that's the kind of power and knowledge and leverage. Ugh. Oh,
well, he's a college guy. He's 25, so he's in here later than everybody else, but he's got all these years of doing this stuff. So
there is look out.
And Goeido, he's got to be salivating So I'm in this mix of coach competition.
Yes, I'm happy because Gonoyama is going to keep us nice and distracted until Hakuoho comes back.
Yes, we're not going to be missing him as hard as I thought.
Oh God, we'll talk about that in a minute, but like the absence that Hakuoho was going to put, I was just like, man, it's going to be no one now. And then Gonoyama's just like, not nobody.
Remember me? And to some degree, Hokuseiho, but the way he got there didn't feel the same as Gonoyama for sure.
I got it.
If you look at records, it's one thing, but Hokuseiho is a mess.
Yeah. Again, like there's still Kinbozan, there's still Hiradoumi, there's definitely a Tomifuji.
Obviously, Shonannoumi, he didn't have it this tournament, but going forward.
We were looking for that one person who were like, how far are you gonna go? We can't see. Lit the rocket. That's him. Mm-hmm. I mean, I may be eating my words in 2 months.
Oh, I hope not, because like I said, I've fallen in love with Gonoyama. He's like my guy. He's already my number 2, and he's brand new to sumo. And then we'll see though if Hakuoho knocks him out or not. But I don't think he will. I think Hakuoho might have to take a 3 spot.
We have 3 tournaments at Gonoyama before Hakuoho is back in the top division. So
we're gonna get
nice and cozy.
Cozy.
So when Hakuoho comes back, he'll be the contender. You know.
Yeah.
He will be challenging the throne. It'll be fun.
I don't think Hakuoho is gonna henka. He's the type of guy that I don't see ever hanking ever.
Oh God.
So we might end up
He's too good for it.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. So we'd made mention of Shonannoumi sort of negatively, which is our fault. Megashira 5 West 7 and 8. I feel like he's learning. First off, like Gonoyama is definitely the exception to the rule. Like
it's kind of a prodigy.
He's a prodigy. So this is when we found out. Okay, Shonannoumi, maybe not fair to him.
Right. So for us to put
it together.
Yeah.
But Shonannoumi, I would say, for somebody who's just hit the top 5 ever. First ever 7 and 8 is really good.
Yes.
And I feel like he also had nerves and was trying to figure things out and was a little out of his depth. And it went to the last day. And all props to Sadanoumi for pulling this one off, I would say. Sadanoumi also going through his own struggles.
Right.
And decides, you know what? I'm not dealing with this today.
Right. He wanted it more.
He wanted it more.
For obvious reasons, because he's at the end of his career.
He's at the end. So, yeah, he beats... So, this was something that was very interesting, because day 2, Gonoyama fights Ura. Ura tricks him out. And then I'm like, welcome to the top division, Gonoyama. This is how we do things here in the very, very top. The very next day, Shonannoumi catches Ura in mid-trick and chucks him out in 2 seconds. And so, like, right there, I was just like, oh, this is going to be interesting. It looks like Shonannoumi maybe have a leg up on this. And then the rest of it, and this sort of goes into the play styles a little bit. That Shonannoumi has a little bit more of a vision on this stuff. Was able to foresee the trickery, catch and throw.
Yeah, and if you look at those first 2 losses after the first day, actually, look at all 3 of those pusher thrusters.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Onosho is... I don't know how Takayasu fought him, but traditionally, Takayasu really likes that rough and tumble slap thing.
Yeah.
He will go to the belt, but...
Yeah. Takayasu also had an absolutely gangbusters first week.
I'm sure that he was one of Midorifuji's many Katatsukashi victims. What are you going to do about that?
What are you going to do?
You know, so...
Yeah, some of this...
He's got to learn, like you said.
He's learning it. So, like, I'm going to say, let's put a pause on Shonannoumi. No judgments. Definitely he's got potential. Come November, then we're going to be able to see what he can do.
Yes.
So, that's my take on him. It's just like, let's come back in November. He's settling in, you know. So like we caught, like, you know, like when you visit your friend in the dorm room and like their stuff's still in all their bags and boxes, and they're like, "Hi, I'm just here right now." It's just like you have to let them go in. You go back the next day when they've got all their stuff settled in. Maybe even like a week later once they figure out where everything needs to go. Mm-hmm. That's Shonannoumi right now. He's unpacking his stuff.
He is.
Half of it's still in boxes, guys. Let him move in. All right. So, this is. Onosho. Oh, he was so close to being the dark horse.
Yeah.
I think I wanted it too much. Megashira 60s, 9-6. So earlier on, we had those knee issues. We knew that those knees were a problem in July. And we're like, if his knees get better, he will produce. Because the way he was fighting through his injuries was very promising. And man, this is the kind of Onosho we were excited for years ago.
Yeah, some sort of switch has been flipped with him, and the knee injuries just sort of pushed him back for a time. But he's putting something together. It's like he's got a special prize for us.
So he's one of the few people to beat Takayasu when Takayasu was. By the way, let's scroll down. Who's the only person who beats Takayasu in this entire stretch? Onosho.
Yeah,
and he does it with power.
Boy, does that like change his whole tournament too?
Beats him with power, beats him with his brand of sumo. Mm-hmm. Interesting match with Oho. Now, this is, I don't want to put any more shame on Oho, but the two of them basically do the same thing to each other. That Oho goes in, tries to do a slap down, and Onosho survives. And then Onosho goes in and tries to do a slap down on Oho. Oho survives, or the other way around. So, like, there's a stagger, there's a chaos. Onosho's the one who knows, I got to keep going. Takes advantage of the chaos, runs him out. So they do the same moves to each other. They're in the exact same situation. Onosho says, I want to win this.
Yep.
Oho's probably wondering what his grandfather will think or something.
Right.
Which is, we'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to again, I feel bad for Oho, but...
Yeah, I do too.
Like, when it comes to who wants it more, who's going to put it together... Onosho's starting to put that in.
Well, we know, regardless of Onosho's records, he's always wants it.
Yes.
He's a very hungry guy.
Also very telling that right here he's 7-3. So he's in that pack. And he loses to Myogiryu.
Well, this was a different type of Myogiryu, but
it shouldn't matter.
No, it shouldn't. He should beat him.
It shouldn't. Like, I agree with you. Myogiryu had a hell of a time. 10-5, by the way.
But still, like,
10-5.
Some of that is Onosho underachieving.
Yeah, and again, so like in a very important match, like his footwork leaves him behind.
Yeah.
Does some weird belt stuff with Kotoeko too. I'm not sure what that was all about, but similar to Takanosho, the fact that he's trying it and the fact that he's used it in the past.
It's interesting how many of these pusher thrusters
are starting
like
to diversify.
Yes.
So he's doing that too. I feel like he's improving in all the right ways. The better his knees are going to get. I feel like he's both physically and mentally getting tougher.
Yes, I agree.
It's that, and I think like we may have literally like we need to go back to like some of our podcasts from 2020, and we're like, oh no, he's pretty young. He just needs a few years to put it together.
Right, and now here we are.
Here we are, a few
Future.
years later, in impossibly long 3 years.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
Seriously,
I feel like I'm a little bit more optimistic on Onosho than I should be, but I also feel like I've been waiting a long time to have an optimism on Onosho that I wasn't kicking myself for later.
Exactly. You kind of have to go with it.
Got to go with it. I'm going with it. Back to Onosho train. So, next up, Ryuden 6 and 9. Unfortunate. Megashira 6 West. And these last few days, it's like he finally figured it out. And then this 2 and 7 stretch.
Just couldn't overcome that.
Like he was slower to react, and it felt like it was like I had mentioned before. Like if you're fighting Ryuden, you either keep him off the belt, or if he gets the belt, you figure out a way around him, or like you find a way to deal with his size.
He's a big dude.
Hokuseiho's around here being super, super big and tall, but Ryuden's a big guy.
Yeah, and those hands.
Imposing and threatening, and there's a lot of pressure. Like, he just runs at people, and they get scared, because it's like a bear going after them.
Right.
But everybody up here, they were figuring this out. There was I'm picking up poor Oho. Like, there's a lot of matches that Oho lost that was very trademark for other people. Mm-hmm. But there was a stalemate going on. They're leaning on each other. There was an audible slap as Ryuden grabs Oho's belt. it was like sort of like flipping a switch to turn the sign on the front of the store.
Like
it's like ching thong, and you're just like, store's
open.
Over.
Let's
go. Off we go.
It's like, I have Oho today. I'm gonna do my brand of sumo.
Yeah, it's a bit of bad luck for him. So what I will say also is, so some of his later wins, Aoyama, Tamawashi, Takarafuji, Kotoshoho. So he got a lot of help.
He did.
He got a lot of help.
This could have been way worse.
Could have been way worse for him. So I feel like we're not the only Ryuden fans here. Now him losing to Chiyoshoma on the last day is, but I'm gonna stay positive. 6 and 9.
Not the worst.
Not
best
the
of the worst.
Able to at least do his brand of sumo here and there, but it does seem that his time of the second wind
is already gone.
Is gone, that makes me a little sad, but at least he's got enough to not do double-digit losses.
Yeah, I mean that's the standard now for some of these guys.
Which
unfortunately.
Welcome to September.
Welcome to September.
You didn't X.
Right. In the post-Yokozuna world, even though we technically still have a Yokozuna.
Yeah. At least we have this going for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway. We're going to go to the king of silver lining himself, the Lord and Savior, Takayasu, Megashira 7 East, 10 and 5. Once again, you're like, oh, wow, 10 and 5. You're just like,
Yeah, that's actually a disappointment.
So it was around here. Everybody's just like, Takayasu Yusho. So I'm like, guys.
It's Takayasu.
Week 2 Takayasu is the worst thing that ever happened to Takayasu. Let him talk to me on day 12.
Right.
Talk to me on day 12. And the second his hand went for his back when he fell over against Fuji, I'm like, there it goes.
It's over.
It's over. To his credit, he somehow pulls 2 wins out of that.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to do that.
I thought when right here, I thought he was going to lose out.
Me too.
And if not, go Kyujo. But he comes back. He's a shell of himself against Daieisho. And again, this is his heart, and you can't. We need to find anybody who doesn't like Takayasu, and just kill them because they're horrible people. Joking.
What's funny about that is there are a small contingent of Takayasu haters, but they hate him because he doesn't win.
Oh, okay, so
they hate
they were burned.
They've been burned too many times, so they're kind of like scorned.
All right, that's fair. I feel like to be a Takayasu fan is to know pain in a little bit.
Yeah, you're one of those people. If you're like a hardcore Takayasu fan,
it's rough to be there. And those slow walks, we've been over this, but anyway.
It's like, is there gonna be a day where the joy comes back.
Yeah, so he was like 8-1 Takayasu is and remains a terrible thing for whoever has to fight it. Because he has the power, he has the techniques, the veteran
aggression,
sense, the Exeki sense, just everything that makes you terrified to fight somebody.
And unfortunately, the injury is why he lost to Hokutofuji and Daieisho.
Uh-huh.
But I just think once he got that injury, he was going to have like a fraction of power, and it was just a miracle that he won it all after that.
Yeah, it's like he can't last 15 days.
No.
Anymore.
He's hit that point.
Happens, something hits, some part of his body says, I'm done. And then he has to, and then at his dead weight, he is dragging through the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, so I don't know if you can ever actually count on Takayasu to win.
What? You can count on him until day 9.
Yeah.
That's like, this first week, Takayasu is absolutely menacing. And it was great to watch. And like, again, a reminder of all the things you love about him.
Yep. And then as soon as day 9 hits, some disaster.
Something happens.
Or day 10.
Yeah.
I always look at day 10 as like, if it's a Maegashira guy and he's at day 10, it's probably not going to work out.
Mm-hmm. It's rough. Ugh. But 10-5 will, in the long run, put him 3-2.
Yeah.
Where week 1, Takayasu is going to be fighting the best people. And those are the fights we want to see.
Because he's better in the first week than the second week, so if he can manage to beat a whole bunch of guys in the first week, maybe he can limp it out in the second week.
Maybe. Instead of having to fight, Kirishima,
Yeah.
Daieisho, Atamifuji in the second week where he's...
I'll say, though, they gave him an easier schedule with Nishikigi and Hokutofuji, though they earned those...
They earned that.
They're in those spots.
They're in those spots, so... Well, Takayasu, please don't die on us or something.
I know, right?
Nothing horrible.
Just keep trying.
Keep trying. I mean, there's nothing going to stop him from trying.
No.
Yeah. He can get the plague.
And he'll
be like, I've got one good leg. Let's go.
Exactly.
Oho. Next up, Megashira 7 West 5-10. Another tournament, another internal struggle. Though part of me. We always go back to Oho talking about how everybody hits harder, and there's an issue with power for Oho. Because let's look at who we beat. Kotoeko, smaller guy. Hiradoumi, smaller guy. Nishikigi, smaller guy. Aoyama, taped together veteran. Tamawashi, taped together veteran.
Yeah.
People who don't give him power back, he can beat.
Right, which is a problem. If you're a young guy especially.
So, worth noting that against Gonoyama, he gave him a fight. I feel like he could have won that if it wasn't Gonoyama. And he would have beaten Endo, but he did the step out.
Oh, that is the worst.
Yeah, Isa Miyashi. It is when in the process of beating somebody, you step out first by accident.
Yeah, you don't want to have too many of those on your resume.
A little bit of bad luck, and it's that Shodai issue of the day you wake up is the day you fight somebody who's really, really, really good. So that's a little bit of bad luck for him, but I think he needs some power.
And how do you get power if you're Oho? Like, is this a weightlifting thing, or is this a Tachi problem, or is this a energy problem?
He like I don't know if he needs just to hit the gym. I don't know if he needs to do Tachi against cars. I don't know what I feel like this boils down to a training issue.
It has to be
on the outside looking in, because he clearly has the moves and the urgency when he can get it, but he needs that opportunity, and it seems that the opportunity is against people who can't really stop him.
Yeah, there's not enough in the well.
Not enough, and so feels like there is a version of Oho we can create.
Mm-hmm.
We must be forged in iron and steel. That kind of hardened badass.
And he still has time, but now he's getting a little older.
He's also going to get passed up.
He is, because some of these young guys are already where he should be at this point.
Yes.
He's had the years ahead, I think about 1 or 2 years ahead of some of these guys, and he hasn't gained the necessary skills to even be in their league.
So if his eyes are upwards, that's a big if, by the way. Mm-hmm. We always assume.
Yeah.
He needs to do something with that power. He needs to get, power, endurance, physical something.
Right.
I am not a sumo trainer. I'm not a nutritionist.
Gain us something.
I'm not a coach, but he needs that training montage. He needs to put on some 80s synth metal and just let it go. That's what it feels like. Anyway. Okay. Next up, Kotoeko. Make sure 80s, 6 and 9. So the 6 and 9 is maybe a hair knocked down, but this is the first time that it felt like Kotoeko was in a place where he belonged in terms of his level of skill and how he was fighting, because almost everybody below him he beats.
Which is what you should do.
Yes. With the exception of Onosho, which is very nice of him. And everybody above him he loses to.
Which you want to be out of that zone.
Yes, we were. This is what we were brought up with Ura. That Ura was beating people above him, which meant that he was starting to go higher. But basically, anybody who's higher ranked in Kotoeko can beat him, with the exception of a desperate Aoyama and a really, really, really game Midorifuji. Mm-hmm. Which that's basically why it's a 6 and 9.
Right.
So, on one hand, it's like, okay, Kotoeko has found his level. He's always struggling to figure it out, but like the amalgamation of really fun small man, strong man sumo gets him to Mega Sure 8.
Right. And now he's going to tumble down a little bit.
He'll be like 9. Like he'll be where Hakuoho is. He's not going to go too much further down.
Yeah, that's probably the spot.
He'll be around here. But so like now it's like where the answer is, how good is Kotoeko? He is Mega Sure 9.
Right.
That is exactly how good it is. A little saddening in a way, but in another way, for a while, like we didn't know if he was going to be able to.
Yeah, he had lost his way.
He lost his way. Now he's coming back. There's like enough of a consistency where the ranking for him seems to put him, and he had his moments. He had some good sumo, and now it's getting to the point that it's consistent, that he can usually do it reliably enough to keep rank, almost.
Right.
Down a little bit. So I don't know. I'm like, it's like bittersweet almost.
Yeah, because we wanted more for him.
Want a little more, but like I guess for now it's enough.
Right. I mean, as long as you can stay in the top division and keep working on yourself, it's a win.
Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know. I have to come back to that mentally.
Yeah, you're not quite ready for this.
I'm not ready to settle for him in a way. But
yeah.
Like I was like looking at this and like I'm looking. It's like, okay, he in this case he won because he did his small man strong man sumo, and here he lost just because they're either too big or they figured him out. I'm like, oh, it's a solved state.
Right.
That moment when you're growing up that like you figure out tic-tac-toe. You're you just do the whole thing in your head. You're like, oh, I like playing tic-tac-toe.
Right. You're like, but now I've figured it out. It's not the same anymore.
It's hollow, but at least with Kotoeko, he has the opportunity to do something new.
He does. He can start over every tournament as long as he stays. He's somebody who seems to stay healthy.
He stays healthy. He's consistent. Again, that's for good and bad. Like it's stop Bob right now. Again, the 6 and 9, he'll actually go down a little bit, and maybe then he'll go up a little bit, and then down.
Right, until he finds that thing that propels him higher.
So he's at a point where he's not going lower, but he's also not improving.
Oh, those Kotos.
Giving us problems all over the place.
Yeah, they need some sort of infusion. I don't know.
Something. They need something. But anyway. Next up, Hiradoumi, making sure it was 6 and 9. So they have the same rank, but it's like a completely different story. Mm-hmm. Because Hiradoumi, I felt like he was a little more rattled, a little less consistent. It felt like almost a regression.
Yeah, he felt sort of like a shadow of himself. Like he usually commands so much more presence in the dohyo, and I almost forgot he was there.
Yeah, so he is one of the people who figured out Ryuden despite being much lower ranked. He does basically he bosses Ryuden around, which looked awkward.
Yeah.
Because Ryuden's almost twice his size, and he's doing the bumpity sumo thing to just shove him around. And
that was weird.
Literally outworked him.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, I'm smaller, but I'm just going to keep pushing against you until you get the message and get out of my ring.
Right, like
so,
a little yippy dog or something.
This is like an oasis of happiness for me. This one. And he gave Takayasu a run for his money. Almost beats him. Takayasu just too sturdy and figures it out. So, like, he has a week 2 Takayasu. He wins that.
Yeah.
So, almost a little bit of bad luck here against Takayasu. But the fight with Endo. So, props to Endo. Having a great time this tournament, by the way. Had his eyes on the Yusho.
Yeah, for a moment
bit.
there.
There's a lot of people had their eyes on it.
Yeah, like you said, that list was long.
Long list of people. I was made mention. I was just like, this is going to clear itself out. But for now, it's a little distressingly cluttered.
Yeah.
That was a lot of people. But anyway, when he fought Endo, like his defenses, it was less spirited moving around, a lot more flaily. And to me, that felt like a lot that was going on with Hiradoumi. A lot of his energy, his spirit, his moving all over the place, like it felt like it was to his advantage normally. This time around, it felt like it was just noise.
Yeah.
Very, So, I am hoping that there was jitters, there was nerves, maybe he's a little more rattled in July, because he was super high up there and then he got slapped down, so maybe it was...
It could be, tournament mental thing.
The way that people recover from those, like the ideal is you get it, the day afterwards, you get your notepad out and you write down all the things that went wrong and you spend the next 2 months crossing them off.
Right.
So maybe that didn't happen.
You might need a little bit more time to right the ship.
Maybe a little bit. And then again, at least it wasn't double-digit losses.
Once again, that phrase.
Off of Tamawashi on the last day.
To keep himself out of that boat.
And, has a couple of good, Ryuden's really only the big one, actually. Midorifuji, give it to him, I guess. Midorifuji.
Yeah.
If you look at the 10 and 5 Midorifuji, you're like,
yeah, maybe that's a big win.
A little bit, so there's enough for me to stay optimistic.
Right.
I'll say that. Enough for me to keep my fandom of Hiradoumi going. It's a little bit longer, and then in November I'm
going to say November is going to be better. I just have a feeling.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are going to want to forget September happened.
Yeah. We thought that was only going to be July, but nope.
It's a wild time. So, Midorifuji, Megashira 9 East 10 and 5, lost the Red Mawashi.
I was really sad when
This is the news.
I'm like, oh, Black, come
Back
on.
to that. So, when he was here... He was 2 and 5. I'm like, that's what you get
for changing the Mawashi.
I was spiteful, and then he proves me wrong by then having look at spotless week 2.
That so rarely happens.
So good
to just win out like that.
Yeah, and not just like scraping it by. He had 6 Kataskashi this tournament.
Once again, another list of things that happened with frequency.
Oh my goodness.
Well, apparently if he can Katatsukashi you, he's going to have a good tournament. Because you just can't defend against it.
He has 6 of them. He's got it figured out. It is his thing. So I'm hoping that he doesn't turn into another Kotoeko and that he's just lower range.
Right.
Because this early stuff does concern me a little bit. Because it was people who were just shutting him down and shoving him around. This is what happened last tournament too.
Yep.
The first week he was just getting thrashed.
Yeah, and then he just found.
Then he just turned it up, and I similar to Ryuden. I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, Kageyaki, Kotoshoho, Daishoho, Aoyama. I'm like, it's a 10 and 5, but
this is who we faced.
I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, I don't necessarily expect that same record in November.
So this is that case where you see the 10 and 5, you get excited, and then almost you shouldn't have looked into it.
Right, drill into the details.
What I hope he does, and what we need to do is remember 6 Kataskashi, great ring sense, fun sumo. The second week.
That was fun, yeah.
Every time Midorifuji was watching, it's just I leaned forward a little bit in the chair. I was just like, I put the coffee down. I'm just like, okay, I got to watch this, and then I can go back to eating breakfast. It was very important to pay attention. So I want to keep that. I want to remember that part of Midorifuji and not the first week of Kinbozan just throwing them. No.
It was good for the Fuji stable for sure.
Definitely. And part, how much of this maybe was him taking Atami Fuji's energy a little bit.
Yes.
And beating Aoyama. Okay, well done. Anyway.
Oh, poor Aoyama.
Oh boy.
That'll be a lengthy discussion.
Oh boy. I'm glad I got my mourning period out of the way.
Yeah.
Real sadness. Anyway, Megashira 9 West, Hakuoho, shoulder surgery, 00 and 15. This is the thing that we always complain that people don't do.
Yes. We're like, why are you fighting when you need a surgery?
And so I get similar to Terunofuji. I hope this becomes the decided to take a step back. Takakeisho did this too.
Yep.
Take a step back. It's okay to lose rank. It's okay to falter. Get things cleaned up. Get it fixed. Come back stronger, and then build a legacy out of it.
Right.
And like, if there's this guy isn't even 20 yet.
Yeah.
Or maybe he is 20. He's not 21 yet. Definitely not 21.
He just turned 20.
Yeah. So he has so much time, and the talent is obviously there. And if he comes back with a shoulder that is as strong as the rest of his sumo.
Right, and he had surgery on the other shoulder, so now both shoulders are repaired.
Yeah, so this time next year, no one's going to remember.
No.
Because he's going to be in Sanyaku, he's going to be on an Ozeki run, and all people are going to think about is, thank God he didn't do something permanent.
He's going to be like 24, 25, and way up at the top.
Way up! If not at the top.
If not at the top.
I think everybody's collectively thinking the same thing.
And if he makes it up there, he's the next Hakuoho.
Yeah, so it's going to suck short-term pain. He's going to be gone now. He's going to be gone in November. Probably gone in January. So then March and May he has to dig himself back out, which again kind of sucks for him because he just did that.
Yeah.
But
it's fresh in those lower divisions.
So then July, bottom of the division, September, top of the division. And then we're going to be here talking about how awesome he is. Now he's going to be Ozeki. So.
Right. As soon as he gets even the last spot in the upper division, he's capable of doing great things.
He's fine. Well done, Hakuoho, on your 00 and 15.
The best 00 and 15 we've had.
The most optimistic 00 and 15 I have seen in some time.
Yes.
And we have seen, unfortunately, a lot of those.
More than we would expect.
In our tenure here on this podcast.
Yes.
So, that is our opinion. Well done on your not showing up. Breaking that trend. Kinbozan, another trend broken. Making sure you're 10 East, 9 in 6. So we were talking about how Kinbozan needs to get more decisive in his sumo. We're like
less tentative,
more aggressive, maybe a little angry, maybe you're a little too nice. Mean Kinbozan shows up and gives us a 9 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
And these are wins against Shonannoumi, Tsurugisho. So good. Now he has some of the Kageyakus and Nishikifujis that Midorifuji had. So I'm not gonna. This isn't a complete turnaround. But again, it's the way he won.
Right.
Balance, charging recovery, peeling people off. The Hiradoumi all over him. The way he just picked him up and like threw him across his body.
He showed his power for sure.
Like, I was just like, physics doesn't work that way. He had you there, but he's just like, you're gone.
Who did he henka against?
I don't think I wrote it down, but
he did have a henka, but once again,
did it work out for him?
Yeah, he won on that henka. I think it was.
It might have been one of these two then.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, a little bit of nerves.
It's probably against Tsurugisho because
Tsurugisho just had the roughest.
He did. Like
he got punished for being too good.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you want to be good? In your face, Tsurugisho. I feel for him too.
I want to punch somebody. I don't like being violent like this, but the way that 8 and 7 turned out for him, I'm like
that's not what he deserved.
They done him dirty.
Yeah, I think we just crack a board in half.
Anyway, Kinbozan, good to see the anger. Again, we don't want people to be like, we want to hurt people. We don't want to. We want a full Hoshoryu on here, but that aggression was something he needed, and he found it. So come November, he's a little bit higher. He's fighting some stronger people.
We'll see what that means.
We want him to go forward, and we want him to take that backwards mentality out.
Yes.
So, and he's still working on it. Still early. Still a youngin' to the top division. So, positive notes.
Absolutely.
More positive notes for Endo. Making sure 10 West 9-6.
Nice little stretch there in the middle.
This is a great stretch. And this is peak Endo. This is like the Endo you want to see. A little bit of a stumbling start. Some of his losses were also really good.
Which means they could have been wins.
Could have been wins. Quality sumo throughout. Like, no 9-5 Endo.
No. He was putting the overtime
yeah.
in.
So, when he fought Kinbozan, right here, this was him. I felt like if this was 9-5 Endo, he would have lost that. So he goes in on Kinbozan. Kinbozan pushes him away. This is the Kinbozan isn't going to have it. He's not going to think about it. He's just going to get off of it. Endo just head forward, just crashes forward over and over and over until he finally gets inside and beats Kinbozan. I'm like, he looked at Kinbozan. He's just like, I'm getting that belt, and the only way you can stop me is if you kill me.
Right, and he wasn't ready for that.
He was not ready for that, and kind of scary actually, because when he goes to fight Gonoyama, he has that same mentality, but Gonoyama also is just like,
Gonoyama's like, I will kill you.
They're slow-mo. Like, the way that Endo loses is by flash knockout.
Yeah.
It's a little scary. I hope he... So, like, again, it's... You're
getting nervous there.
It is just skull on skull on the replay, and then Endo's hands go down. Then he stands back up afterwards. I'm like, okay.
He's okay.
There was a moment there
where you're like, what just happened?
But I'm staying positive on Endo. Like, I'm staying positive on a lot of these people who, in the past, maybe we haven't been. Now, his fortunes may change a little higher up when he's fighting a lot more people like Gonoyama.
Well, that's the key.
I want to remember, I want to take this moment and put it in my memory, because, like, this is Endo being Endo, having his moment of good sumo. Couple of staggers, but it's fine. He's technically a veteran these days.
Yeah, he is.
And, like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, we may not get a lot of these anymore.
Right, you almost had to take a picture.
Taking the mental picture. Let's enjoy, let's celebrate the Endo of September of 2023. Everybody, let's get together. The control, again, like that technician that we all love about him. It's here. It was here today. All right. So, something else that we had lost for a long time. Megashire 11 West, Mitakeumi 9-6. This, I feel like he's coming back.
It did seem like he was making a comeback. Some of his losses were like old Mitakeumi losses.
The day 15, the Nishikigi loss.
Yeah.
So he had nothing to win for. Nishikigi really had nothing to lose.
Right.
So Mitakeumi just runs, like, I had to replay the video. I'm like, wait, what happened? He's out. He lost. And I replay. It's like, oh, nothing happened. He just lost.
Right. He just sort of gave up today.
A little bit of a give up. But this was the exception to the norm, I feel. And a lot of this was, like, really good. Beats Gonoyama, by the way. We're talking him up. Mitakeumi was not having. Mitakeumi has a grudge against new people, though.
He really does.
He doesn't like that. Nothing gets him fired up more than somebody who wants his old place.
It's like, if I'm not there, you can't be there.
Exactly.
Only the guys who have beaten me before can have those spots.
But, like, a lot of his wins were, I'm not going to say Ozeki. I'm going to say Sanyaku Mitakeumi. That really strong and decisive, but not the what are you even doing here? That extra stuff. Because there were some, when Mitakeumi was Ozeki and in his stride, he did that thing that I was talking about Asanoyama doing, that, like, he would embarrass people.
Right.
But not at that level.
He'd, like, throw you out on your butt.
On your butt, then just sort of walk back and be like, I don't know even why I showed up today.
Yeah, that was boring.
That was boring. Can I have a real opponent? Like, that level of swagger isn't there yet, but, like, that, again, the Sanyaku Mitakeumi, he's going to beat somebody, there's going to be no doubt about it.
Right. It's not going to be on the edge.
They're going to put up a fight, but Mitakeumi's going to just deal with it.
It's good to see. I mean, it means he's been concentrating on his sumo and not other stuff, hopefully, and He can only go up
Yeah.
from here.
Yeah, and so Atamifuji, okay, fine. Tsurugisho, okay. Asanoyama. Let's say we give him more cannon fodder on those. He's 12-3. He just won the Yusho.
Yeah.
Which goes to tell you how bad September was.
I was gonna say, yeah. The fact that Mitakeumi had an outside chance with the 9-6.
We were talking about this.
We were.
That, what was it? Because it was like right here before he beats Asanoyama. We went through everybody in contention. And we're like, there's an outside chance Mitakeumi smells chaos and goes in for blood.
That's the tournaments he wins.
And if he won out at this point against Asanoyama, and Asanoyama's not 100%, and those two, like we'd mentioned with the Shodai beating Asanoyama, those guys have history.
Yep.
There's hidden knowledge between the two of them. So like he could have come out with this.
He could have.
So that's him 11-4, and then once again doing something bad to Takakeisho in a playoff.
Yeah, I never want to see Mitakeumi fight Takakeisho because things go wrong for Takakeisho.
So, like,
including henkas.
Yes. So Mitakeumi was good enough that we had a serious discussion. I feel like that's the real win for him.
Which is better than what's been going on.
Better than what's going on. So maybe he's figuring things out in his life. A physical change, a mental change, an emotional change, a spiritual change. So, like, as somebody who's a fan of human beings, heartwarming.
Yes.
To see that kind of a thing. Like, to see the flower grow again in spring.
Right.
That kind of a feeling.
Overcome the bitter winter.
What comes of this, only he knows. And maybe he doesn't know that either.
Right. Maybe it's just one tournament at a time.
I choose, again, like with Endo, I'm like, let's get it where we can. And maybe they'll give us more later. So, next up, Hokuseiho. Megashare 11 West 10-5. So, the first week, I had written like a diss track on him.
And I would say most people also had. They were like, this guy stinks.
I had to completely rewrite all my notes. And this is like, so if I had gone like right here, like 2 and 4, I'm like, Hokuseiho, I am upset with you. I am. You. It's like when the kid goes to extra studies afterwards, and you're the teacher, and like you're glad to see that he's coming back to learning, and then like he gives you like a D of grade. It's like, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, like, why are you even here?
Why are you putting this extra effort? Yeah, so that was my feeling right here. So then this happens. And
it felt like it came out of nowhere because it's like he'd win each day, and you almost couldn't believe that the record was climbing.
So right here it was, if the opponent can figure out Hokuseiho's size and weird arms, then they win, because Hokuseiho will do nothing but just lean on you and wait for you to do something.
Right.
That's what all this was. Particularly the Midorifuji loss, where Midorifuji is throwing every single trick of the book at him, and Hokuseiho's not moving just because he's big.
Right, and it's like,
at no point during that entire fight does he fight back.
And that right there is the difference between being in the playoff race and being in 10-5.
Actually, he might have given like some token efforts back. I'm not going to talk too bad about him, but like Midorifuji, basically, he had every opportunity to beat him, and he just couldn't, which is then more frustrating when he fights Tsurugisho and outmuscles him and fights him like he's Sanyaku.
Right.
And I'm like, he was in there the whole time. Now, maybe, we always talk about, at the same token, at the same corner of the mouth, here I am talking bad and talking good at the same time, about how Hokuseiho is under all this crazy pressure. And it is that weird, like, second child, second heir to the throne. That it's like you're expected to do just as good, but nobody
will pay attention
to you. So he is in that weird place.
He's fighting not to go back home to a finger wagging.
It is that weird, like everybody talks, we're talking, here's how this is not fair. Hakuoho doesn't even show up. Well done. This is exactly what you want.
Yeah, we're doing it too.
No, we get to 10-5. We're talking crap on him. Okay?
This is a good point.
Okay, I'm playing both sides of this argument. I'm trying to be fair.
We have seen this now happen in real time. And this is what happens to him. It's like, yeah, great job, 10-5. What is wrong with you?
I know. But what I will say is, these fights right here, this is his blueprint. I want him to go back and look at how awesomely he fought. How Tsurugisho, being peak sumo, and he just smothers him and runs him out. And he gets one of those like those grimaces, the Tsurugiso grimaces, because he doesn't want to go out, but he knows it's going to happen.
Yep.
This is your blueprint for success, Hokuseiho. These fights where you use your size
to your advantage.
To your advantage, where you fight awesome sumo and nobody can do anything to you, not just because you're a basketball player playing sumo, but because you're powerful, you're doing great technique, like
which
winning.
he has the ability to do great technique.
Yes, winning for the right reasons.
Yeah, and the thing is, those matches are winnable. Maybe we could give him a pass on Midorifuji, but Takarafuji. Oh no, wait.
Takarafuji had a really good. So again, to his credit, all the people he lost to also were just, in retrospective, having a really good time of it.
Yeah.
Takarafuji was some of the best sumo we've seen out of him in a while. Mitakeumi, we just got finished talking about how he's resurging. Midorifuji, holy crap.
That was a out in left field situation.
Out in left field situation. Maybe 1 in a million Midorifuji.
Probably not going to repeat.
Midorifuji, one of Midorifuji's, I'll say, solid, really great sumo wins.
I can see him losing against the smaller guys. Like, I know he's got to eventually overcome that, but I could see them being a problem for a while. He can't see them. Like, there's a lot
down
below
there.
him. I mean, what was he going to do? Kick them back? Is that, like, what is the strategy against these little guys grabbing his legs?
You
pick them up.
You Tochinoshin them.
Yeah, once again, I wish Tochinoshin was here. For 2 reasons. 1, he could show Hokuseiho what to do with his size. And 2, seeing them 2 clash would have been epic.
Oh, would have been so good. Torichi Nojo in the mix while we're...
Oh,
I know.
Bitter.
We had a little bit of that with Hokuseiho, but not enough.
Yeah.
And so, I still would... How mad would everyone be if he beat Hoshoryu?
Very mad.
Oh, my goodness. And he had... to be fair to Hokuseiho, to give him that slack, he made Hoshoryu work.
Yeah, he was, like, in the match, in the
mix, could have won. Then Hoshoryu goes through the crazy thing that only Hoshoryu can do. So, maybe we can rationalize all these wins. Yeah,
I guess we probably could.
Like, on one hand, maybe Hokuseiho is just working it out, and maybe his losses were legitimate things he can work on, and he's actually getting a little better than everybody thinks, including us. On the other hand, come on.
Right, and it's only because the high expectations are there.
It is a weird loop that we're in. It's that it's because we know he's so good that we're giving him hell for a 10-5 when we're being nice to people for a 9-6.
You gotta wonder what Miyagi how he approaches him. Is he giving him like a nice celebration, or is he like, get back in there and train?
I feel like, and again, this is where I go back to Hokuseiho. I'm just like, you're in just a terrible position, aren't you? Because it's like in the back of our mind, everybody knows he can be an Ozeki. He's got that. And we all are so desperate for it.
I think part of the problem is that Hakuoho just exudes confidence.
He does.
And he's just going to do what he's got to do. And Hokuseiho just hesitates. Like you said, some of those matches where he's just standing there.
This must be what it'd feel like to be Captain America's brother.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be it.
You just picture Miyagi going, move, do something.
I do feel like I'm part of the problem in a way.
Yeah, we're contributing to the problem.
We're only making it worse. We're sorry, but it's
so good that we don't speak Japanese, so he'll have no idea what we're saying.
We're safe. Again, now we're making a growing list of people that one day are going to send us an email and be like, we know everything that you said. Him and Onosho. The two of them. One day they're just going to show up in our inbox and be like, we've been had.
Oh no!
Oh no! Hide.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry. We're big fans.
We're totally big fans. We promise we're not haters.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, anyway, so either put egg on my face or egg on his. He's 7-6 next tournament with that 10-5.
Yeah.
And he gets to be exactly where he wants to be if he wants to shut a bunch of people up.
Right.
And
which he does.
And Hakuoho's off the Banzuke.
Right. This is his time to like slowly make his way up and not even think about
Not even think about it. And then we just blink and he's... Well, we don't know where. That's the thing. Is he in Sanyaku or is he 11 again?
Well, we have Onosato coming up, and I think Onosato would be a great match for him.
Yeah, that's another big boy.
That's a big
big
and he knows what to do with his size.
Yep.
So he could teach Hokuseiho a thing or two in the ring.
already want more sumo.
I know. It's like, why is it
It's
over?
terrible. It's like a tease.
It is.
What a tease. All right. Megashira 12 East. Takarafuji 7 and 8. Probably the best looking 7 and 8 on this entire Banzuke. Oh my God. He was fighting like he was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The way he went. And it's still 7 and 8. Oh well. By the way, they gave him Shodai on the last day. I complain about this every time. He's Megashira 12.
Why is he getting Shodai?
Why getting Shodai?
Is that like, what is that? Like, why are they doing that to Takarafuji?
They love these 7 and 7 matches. People like calling them the Darwin matches. They're just like, it'll be exciting. One of them goes up, one of them goes down. It's just like, you give him a chance.
Yeah, but it's like he's 12.
Yeah, now, on the same token, and now Sadanomi's here going to make me look like an idiot. They do the same thing to him, and he wins.
Yeah.
So you go to Takarafuji. Maybe you didn't want it as much. It's like, he's fighting Shodai. Exozeki, come on.
I know, and he's like at the end of his career. You like set him up to fail.
So weird. Put them two together. Fight him. Actually,
right.
Oh, never mind. They already fought.
Oh, that's what happened.
Something.
That's
anyway,
of course.
Anyway, he did really well, I think. He had power. He had control. There were a lot of moments where I feel like he would have gone like trainee dummy, but he's just like, no.
Or he's stubborn.
Stubbornness. And so he gets a win against Hokuseiho on day one, the leaner. But he gets to win. He gets the win against Shonannoumi, and Endo. So these are three people who are doing pretty well for themselves.
And he managed to pull out his special Takarafuji way.
So like I see an alternate universe where this is like a 4 and 11.
Yeah.
But Takarafuji did not want that today.
No, because he's trying to stay in, I think, as long as possible. There seems to be a hanging on with him.
There's a bit of a hanging on. Like, if you do knock him out of his rhythm, if you get really good on the Tachiai, or, like, if you can sort of, like, foil his plans a little bit, like, undo the belt, move to the side, like, that's where he's weakest, because then he has to regroup.
Right.
And that's where his age starts to show.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's all the age issue right there.
So that's where the struggle is. And that's particularly where somebody like Kinbozan or Tsurugisho, who are able to leverage their power and get him off his game, that's where they win.
Right.
And they're like, I feel like they're just going to keep getting those wins, and that's part of the problem. But there are some wins here that I feel like would have been losses on another day.
Right. So he was good enough to be in.
Good enough to be in, and winning in ways that you're like, ooh. You're just like, oh man, he got him.
Right.
Like older Takarafuji wins were sort of like the other guy would get tire out, or he'd get like a slap down, or it wouldn't feel convincing.
Right, to be like, that could have went another way.
A win's a win, I guess. Like, that's not him. Not today. Which brings us next to Sadanoumi, Megashira 12 West, 8 and 7. I was hoping for a rebound on him.
It wasn't a rebound, but it was a hold.
It was a hold and went down to the last day. He did beat Shonannoumi. That does tell me a lot about these two guys, they're fed up with it.
Yeah.
They're fed up. They're fed up with being old, and they're gonna fight like they're young again.
That's right. They're like, I'm going to will this to be.
So, the fight against the two of them was really, really close. Takarafuji just took it on raw power alone.
Yeah, these guys have probably faced each other a million times.
Yeah. A little bit more of a distressing loss against Kageyaki, because that's sort of showing you that you can upend Sadanoumi even if you're not really knowing what to do with it.
Right.
Which that's sort of what Sadanoumi's problem is. So for Takarafuji, he can stand and deliver, but if you pull him off,
he's done for.
He's done for. For Sadanoumi, if you just say we're doing this my way, he's just like, I guess we're doing it your way. He does have he does have the pivot throws, but usually if you're strong enough to get him moving back these days, and that's what got Sadanoumi up to make sure 3-4 was that he'd be able to reverse no matter what you did to him.
Right, and he's losing his edge in that.
Losing a little of that. But so perhaps this is where they both belong.
Yeah.
And so for Takarafuji, it's optimistic because we were expecting him to be on the way out, and for Sadanoumi, it's a little pessimistic because he was higher.
Right. So we thought with him getting dropped down like this, he'll have a great tournament. He at least got an 8 and 7, so he will go up.
He will go up a little bit, but a 9-6.
Once again, a holding pattern.
Holding pattern. So, and again, then we look to, here comes Onosato, here comes Tomokaze, here comes all these new people or veterans who are storming back, and you're like,
there's not going to be a place for you.
Holding's not going to last forever.
Right. Exactly.
Which, well, up to them and their veteran tricks, I suppose.
That's where the knowledge comes into play.
Old dogs and new tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Or the same tricks that you just haven't seen before.
Right. And the new guys certainly haven't seen them.
Mm-hmm. So, next up, here's a veteran feel-good story for you. Miyogiyu 10-5 in Mega Zero 13.
Very surprising, considering that he's been the veteran who was slipping the most.
Yeah. So, right here when he beats Ryuden, I write down in my notes, I'm just like, 8-7. That's about what we expected out of him. We wanted him to have a rebound. And then, beating Kinbozan was crazy.
I did not expect that. I kept waiting for Miyogiru to just have his moment where this was it.
Yep.
I'm going to fall off.
Yep.
I'm going to lose 5 in a row, and it's done. And no, he was like right there, right at the Kotonofuji Endo spot. I'm like, this is where his tournament's over. And then he picks up the Onosho win, loses because Midorifuji was just...
By the way, beats Onosho. This is another theme. So he beats Onosho. He beats Tsurugisho. He beats Hokuseiho. These are all people that have been using their power, and nobody knows to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And
particularly
Hokuseiho, 10-5, right? Tsurugisho, who could have been 10-5 if people didn't do him dirty. So Miyogiru getting wins where people were normally getting losses.
Yeah, there was a little pep in his step.
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from, but it's that Saitama Sakai, I'm going to show you.
Yeah. So he does this. We expected him to bobber up again. But it was so convincing. I'm like, let's give him a look in November. If he does something like this again, we may be on to his 4th, 5th win. But for now, I'm just like, this is good. Right.
It's good. And, when they're in this age bracket, it really got to see him put together 2 in a row.
It's 2 in a row. So it's sort of like the veteran Ozeki run.
It's the veteran Ozeki run. Yes.
You put 2 in a row, and then we can really talk. But 10-5 out of him. Oh, so good.
that was the feel good story.
That's a smile on my face. So no more smiles for a minute. Nishikigi, Mega Zero 13 was 5-10. Lucky for him, there's a lot of bad on the bottom of his Banzuke. So he'll be spared demotion, very likely.
He needed the wins that he got.
Yeah, he did. So he has some issues in the second week, as you can see. The power wanes. He's back to pulling. But in the first week, he had a lot of charging forward, a lot more of the old Nishikigi. The Daieisho match in particular, he was fighting against a bigger, stronger guy, uphill battle the whole way, back and forth. He pulls it out because he's using his technique. He's going forward. He's stronger again. Now, I don't know if he just got the wind knocked out of his sails.
Well, he looked hurt to me.
But, yeah.
I think whatever his injury is, it's lingering and it's not healing quite right because he wasn't getting those techniques.
He wasn't. But
it'd be one thing to lose trying a technique. He wasn't even trying them most of the time.
The second week was all backwards.
Yes.
Except for, again, against Mitakeumi, he just charges forward, and Mitakeumi just fell asleep.
Yeah, Mitakeumi was in his own world.
But Mitakeumi had a good time otherwise. And
so we leave it be.
This would have been 4-11, which would have been actually pretty bad for him.
Yeah.
But
he won when he needed to.
There's a glimmer of hope in these first 4 wins. Because he almost all the stuff he's been doing beforehand was backwards. It was slaps. It was pivots. It was running away. But this stuff, it was going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Did he just have 4 days he can fight through his injuries? Maybe he's finally making a comeback. That's what November is going to tell us. And it will be in his best interests to perform because he's going to be at the very bottom.
Right. And, back against the wall, Nishikigi might pull out something interesting.
Maybe.
If he's healthy enough.
Yep. So, going forward, everybody with a Makakoshi is probably in a bad place.
Yeah, and there's some trouble down there.
And there's some trouble down here. And we're gonna start with Aoyama, unfortunately.
You think he's definitely
5
done?
and 10. So he had that magic resurgence, but he was out of magic this turnaround. Like a lot of his wins were like desperation or against people like,
very desperate.
Like he'll catch somebody out, or somebody like a lot of his wins were against people who also had bad records.
Right.
So just basically scraping by against other scrapers.
Mm-hmm.
So not really good sumo, and
probably the worst we've seen in a while.
Really bad. So depending on the number of people that come up, he may be kicked out. But
he's right at the
cusp.
Right, like it could be right below him.
Mm-hmm. So it'll either be the line will be right here with Kotoshouho. Bad news for Kotoshouho fans.
Yeah.
Or it takes him with him.
Well, once we look at Juryo, we can look at the likelihood, but there's a chance that they cut off at Chiyoshoma.
Maybe.
But that would be them being very generous, I think. Because it's either going to be 3 or 5. Because with an identical record in the same spot, they're either going to take them both, or they're going to spare them both. You don't think so?
I think they'll just take one. And
all right, we'll see.
But not good to have that kind of math with.
No,
but he may. So the chopping block may start here, or it may start. Well, I mean, it could be 3. You're right, but either way, not good news for other people in Megashiro 14. So Kotoshouho, 5 and 10. So this boy has every problem.
Every problem, I agree.
So on the way up, he had no problems. I mean, he was going to when he got too high, but so then he gets physical problems. He's injured, so he's fighting with his body and doesn't seem to do too well. Then there was, like spiritual issues, like sumo spirit. He's frustrated. He wasn't putting it all into it. Now it looks like it's mental issues. So, he still has his physical issues. He still has his spirit issues that he's working through, and a lot of his wins were very promising to look at. But there's a couple times that he's in the middle of a fight, and he's just like, "What do I do now?"
Right, he just sort of falls apart.
Falls apart. And then when he loses, he's so frustrated because he's like, I was in it, but I couldn't figure it out.
Right. It's almost like the concentration is not there for the full match.
Yeah. So, Hokuseiho tries to henka him, by the way. Kotoshouho reads it. Good reflexes.
Yeah.
Good to catch him. Stands and delivers on the belt with Chiyoshoma, who in retrospect had a terrible time, but still.
But it was early then.
It was early then. We didn't know. Nobody knew.
Chiyoshoma didn't even know yet.
And Chiyoshoma tried his damnedest to get Kotoshouho out, and Kotoshouho was just like, "This is my ring."
Right.
So again, sparks, signs of the person we like in here, but then a lot of bad luck, a lot of bad footwork. Still trying to figure things out, and now he's running out of Banzuke.
Right, and that's the problem is you can only mess around for so long before you're out of time.
Yeah. Koto Tebakari is upper third division. They may bump into each other in Juryo at this rate.
Oh boy. At least they can't face each other.
Good news for Kotoshouho.
Yeah, very good news for Kotoshouho.
Unless it's a playoff.
Which would be excellent.
That would be a great playoff. But anyway, Kotoshouho may not see you in November.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't. Anyway, we'll see. It's no longer your choice.
Nope, it's up to what kind of mood the Banzuke committee's in.
So,
we had to go
Fuji.
Yeah, we had to wait a while to get to this guy now.
Yeah, this is what happens when you have somebody at the like you have these Cinderella stories. You got to wait for the really, really, really good topic until the end. Fuji 11-4, Megashiro 15 East almost runs away with it. So the question we had coming in is, the first time Fuji got knocked up here, it didn't look like he belonged.
Yeah, he looked way out of his league.
So is this him coming back? Is this going to be like a Kageyaki that you dig your head out, but you're still not ready?
And we didn't really give him the time of day.
We were like, let's let him come back in, right? We didn't think he'd be. We were like, let's let him get his 8 and 7, his 9 and 6. We thought, but oh boy, is he ready?
He's ready.
Oh boy, early on, like way early on, we knew. So yeah, Mitakeumi. Okay, not early. the Mitakeumi fight. Again, Mitakeumi pretty game. This goes to a Torunofuji, so he has to fight Mitakeumi twice.
Yep.
And the second time, he puts the pace on Mitakeumi. Like, first time, really strong belt fight, back and forth, lots of power. Second time, he's just like, nah, I got you now. And then they throw the wolves at him, but he beats Takayasu. He breaks Takayasu. For better or worse. Beats Tobizaru. Beats Abi. That one threw me.
Threw Abi off.
Yeah. So when we were looking through this, we expected once he's gonna lose out. He's gonna have a 10-5. It's gonna be great. This win on Abi was just like, I'm gonna get you so many ways. I lost count. And Tommy Fuji's just like, you better start counting.
Yeah, that was like a moment in time that broke the usual pattern.
Oh gosh.
Because we've seen so many Maegashira men up at the top, they get to 10-1 because usually they have a loss early on, and then they end up losing all the rest of the matches. 10-5, they're not even in the conversation anymore. Tommy Fuji won when he needed to win, but unfortunately, and this is a hard lesson that he learned, and we went over this whole henka thing for a while, but you don't want to make it close. For a large portion of the tournament, he had a 2-win lead.
Yeah. So,
but I'm not down on him. He's a brand new guy. But what I'm saying is, like, this is how hard it is to win a U-show, and it's a tough lesson for a young guy.
Good to get out of the way early, though.
Very good to get out of the way early, because it shouldn't crush his confidence. It should show him that U-shows are hard to come by, because any number of things can go wrong. You can have the henka thing. You could have an injury. You could have some weird thing where you slip. You could run into the wrong guy at the wrong time. Like, the best thing you can do for yourself is to keep that 2 wins, and then you don't worry about it. You win cleanly on day 14, and we all move on.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate because he fought out of his mind. He fought way better than I thought, especially at the end when he refused to go down. And he almost won.
Almost got it all. I feel like November, there's going to be more of this.
There's definitely going to be a whole bunch of people on the hype train that are going to be picking him. And all the eyes are going to be on him. And he's going to get like an interview and special this and that. So he's earned a lot of accolades from this big move that he's made. So
he's the only person to win a special prize this tournament. And
he was the only one who deserved a special prize.
Correct.
For sure. He fought the best out of everybody. It would have been fitting for him to win the whole thing, for sure.
So. And also 21 years old.
Yeah.
He's winning a U-show in his career.
He's pretty close.
It's going to happen. He's going to get a trophy case. It'll be great. And
he's got the Yokozuna build. Like, you look at him and you think, you keep it up like this, you're Yokozuna. We're not even going to question it.
I'm looking forward to November Atami Fuji.
Me too.
When he comes back and what he is. And they're going to give him the good fights up front. And those
is he going to henka Takakeisho back?
Oh my God. I'm curious about that fight. I think Takakeisho has to fight him clean.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think
you can't double henka on the same guy.
You can't. And so that's going to be chest to chest.
Yeah, and I think Atami Fuji's gonna be just a little bit stronger. I think he's gonna hit.
Well, it'll be like Hokutofuji versus Hoshoryu. It's just like, I know it's not for the U show, but I need this for me.
Yeah, regardless of what's going on.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
Yes.
Oh, come on, November. Done with this September nonsense. Okay. All right. Let's get the depression out of the way.
Yep, because here we go.
Here we go. Chiyoshima, Megashira, 15 West, 3-12. Goodbye. This hurts me pretty bad. He needed a rebound, and he just completely fell apart. He had no power. I think he had a desperation henka.
Yeah.
Against Nishikigi.
I don't think it worked, did it?
Maybe not.
No, it says he won.
Yeah. Well, maybe not.
There was something that he tried.
Yeah, there was some desperation thing. Maybe he won it. Maybe he didn't. But like here's the problem. Like, he would get the belt in a lot of his fights. Not like he couldn't get to where he needed to go. He couldn't do anything.
He couldn't do anything once he got there.
He couldn't control anything. So he just got completely dismantled.
Nice symmetry, though. Day one,
yeah.
Middle of the tournament, and the last day.
It is nice to see him get that last win on Ryuden, no less.
Yeah.
Ryuden, no slouch. But he is don't.
He's been hanging on for a long time.
He made it an art.
He did. So finally time has caught up to him.
I am hoping for a rebound. That'll go down to Juryo. He'll thrash some people and come back.
It could very well happen.
That is as a Chiyoshoma fan, that's the best I got right now.
I'm not ready to say that he's done.
I am not ready for that.
But he is done in the upper division for now.
I want him just come back in January and we'll just forget this happened. Okay, Chiyoshoma? I'm not ready for this.
It's always hard.
So, Kageyaki, making sure 16 East, 5 and 10. The question was, Kageyaki earned his way back up. Was he ready? The answer was no. There was some... So, Kageyaki normally does the push stuff. There was some of that, body grappling, some smothering out. So, an evolution a little bit, but the 5 and 10 basically tells you the story, which is people were standing him up. People were getting him off balance. People were reading him. And so if there was an improvement in the skill level, it is too small to make a difference.
Yeah, he's at the point in his career where he's just going to bounce back and forth if he's lucky. He just doesn't look ready for the top anymore.
It doesn't look like it at all. He seems like a special guest. He's the Chiyomaru.
Yeah.
I get that vibe.
And he seems too young to be in that spot.
That's what makes it hurt. You feel like Kageyaki still has something in there for us.
But it's not coming out.
No, it's not. It's not. In the back of your mind, you're just at this point, he has to surprise us because you can't keep waiting for it.
Yeah.
It's saddening. Kageyaki, I'm not done with you. You and Chiyoshoma. I'm not done with either of you.
We will see, John. Sometimes Juryo will infuse you with some extra Genki.
Ben and Juryo, that's the problem.
I know.
This bottomless Banzuke is so just a bummer. And now we get to this.
Even though it's an 8 and 7, it's a horrible 8 and 7.
Tsurugisho should call the police. He fought so well. Look at this. This run. This beautiful, beautiful run. Takarafuji and Mitakeumi in there. And then they give him Ura. Then they give him Wakamotoharu. Then they give him Hokuseiho. Then they give him Onosho.
Well, he was sort of threatening in the Yusho contention.
When he got 5 losses, give him someone else.
True.
God's sakes. God, why are they doing it? Who did he piss off? I don't get it. He fought so well. Even in the losses, he fought well.
The 8 and 7 just doesn't seem right.
It's so mean. He had the spark. It was that in July, we're like, ooh, we got something here. And then September, it fell away a little bit. And we're like, uh-oh, maybe that's the end. It comes back here, and they just
tamp him down. He's the raised nail that they hammered down.
Wrong. I don't get it. Tsurugisho, I saw it, okay? If no one else did.
It's gonna be okay. He got his 8 and 7. At least could you imagine if it was a 7 and 8?
I would be infuriated.
So it's not good, but it's not the worst case scenario.
He even beat Hokutofuji.
I know, it was looking like he was going to challenge, and then
looking good. They took it away.
Atami Fuji, swapped them. I thought Atami Fuji would wind up, lower down, and Tsurugisho might be wind up with an 11 and 4.
It's fine. I got to get over this, but I need time. I'll be better later.
You've got a month.
I got a month or so, yeah.
Yeah, right. It'll be okay.
Yeah, Tsurugisho, don't fall to Juryo because of this, or else I'll be really mad.
Yeah, just forget
all about it.
Forget the last couple of days and do what you were doing.
More good sumo. All right, and the bottom, making sure 17 East, Daieisho 3 and 12. He needed a miracle. He needed a rally.
And we've seen this happen with him enough times that this is not a surprising result.
So I will say, to his credit, sort of what I'll say, my send off for him. He is 2 and 8 right here when he fights Hiradoumi, and he wins. That's him saying, I may be leaving, but I'm not going out quietly.
Right. I have not given up yet.
Then he loses out. But whenever somebody loses on a Makakoshi, after their Makakushi, or when somebody turns the tables,
it's a good sign.
It's that sumo spirit I always look for.
Exactly. The fighting spirit is still somewhere in there.
Yep. It wasn't a 2 and 13 like it could have been. He's just like, no, I'm taking this one with me.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a piece off. But doomed, couldn't figure it out. The problems that we saw were not fixed, and there's no more room for that here.
Right. At this point, you're going to be in Juryo if you can't hack it.
Yeah.
Or lower.
He should at least be in Juryo. Well, up to him.
I don't know.
It's out of our hands, Maria. We can't
make it happen.
We can't make it happen. So that's the top 42. Special prizes, as we mentioned, there's the Kanto show, the Fighting Spirit, that went to Atamifuji, and that's it.
The only person who deserved a special prize.
So here comes the Juryo crazy.
Yeah.
So top division had crazy, but so did Juryo. On the last day, Roga gets an 8-7 beating off Onosato.
That was
Who was
huge.
on a mega tear. Look at that.
I actually thought he was going to win it all. I
For a
thought
while.
Ichi Yamamoto, I'm down on him.
You were. You're like, oh, there's no way he's going to hold it together.
But he did.
8-7 at 1 East, he's going to squeak in.
Mm-hmm.
Kotonowaka with the 8-7. I don't see them giving it to him.
He could easily take
He's just going to take Roga's spot. He's just gonna be right in there, ready to go. Tomokaze.
Oh,
11-4. He's in.
That's awesome.
We've
been waiting for 3 years.
Years. Oh, we got him back.
People were saying in live stream, I thought you'd be more excited. It's like, I'm not gonna be excited until it ends because it's not real until I see it.
Yeah. Now we got it. We've gotten it.
I cannot wait to see him.
Also, like right here, it was a 7-4, and like the 8-4, you're like, I don't know, 9-4 to like. The 10-4, maybe right here, we could have been excited.
11-4 means something special.
There's no doubt.
No, it's like he's going in.
He's not just going back; he's coming back.
Right. He's on the upward surge.
So, Oshoma is gonna probably take advantage of a lot of this Makakoshi and just shoop, right back up there. Tohakuryu maybe comes up. The 10-5 at Juryo 4 West is a.
So where are we at now? We have Roga, we have
Tomokaze. Here's Tohakuryu and Shonannoumi, 10-5, around the cusp. Bushozan probably isn't going to get it back with that. What's throwing this all off is Ichi Yamamoto with a 13-2 in the Juryo title.
And he seems like he's high enough that he should be able to squeak in that bottom.
They gave Oho, I think, double-digit wins on Juryo 8.
Now, they should do it, but they are also, they've seen Ichi Yamamoto fall apart a couple times.
Yeah, so the fact it's a 13-2 with the cup, I feel it's pretty hard to turn down.
It should be.
Also, like, if you're going to turn this down, then how are you going to say yes to this?
Right.
This is where the 3-5 comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Roga is effectively guaranteed.
Yep.
The Tomokaze is more or less so. These... Maybe Tohakuryu, like, if you had to pick one of these three, that's a little bit of a weirder decision.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do Ichi Yamamoto, like, maybe you have to do Tohakuryu. And if you're doing Tohakuryu, maybe you do Shonannoumi. And then that's when you go back over to the bottom and you're like, Daieisho, gone. Easy. Kageake, gone. That's easy. Chiyoshoma, gone. So that's 3.
You've got your 3 easy.
So then that's where are you doing 3? Are you doing 4 and you dump Kotoshoho, or are you doing 5 and you're dumping Aoyama?
I could see them possibly cutting off a Kotoshoho.
This is why,
because Aoyama's a veteran and he's earned his right to stay.
When I was talking about the chopping block line being right here,
I could see why you say that now.
I had the benefit of looking at Juryo before though.
Yeah. I hadn't studied it thoroughly enough.
This is my jam.
Yeah, this is your thing.
Looking at Banjuke's for hours and making bad decisions. That's what I'm good at. That's why you keep me around here. But yeah, we're gonna have at least 3,
right?
Possibly 4, maybe 5 coming up, and that's gonna be a bit of a shakeup.
Yeah, I mean that's almost like doing a whole swap of the bottom and the top. So we'll have to see. We will have to see.
So yeah, that's all done. I am exhausted.
Yeah, that was a rough one. I'm gonna be celebrating in my own way. Maybe buy myself another Takakeisho magazine from Japan.
Yeah,
just to get the pictures. But I am looking forward to November and hopefully a much clearer, like the top guy's doing the top guy thing.
So the thing is that, like, there's a lot of figuring things out. A lot of nerves, a lot of consolations, a lot of half measures.
A lot of new guys seeing what they can do.
Testing of metal. And come November, it's just like, okay, everybody, it's time to be serious.
It's the end of the year. That's a big deal.
Do or die. We may have Terunofuji back.
which is a whole other thing.
Whenever Terunofuji comes back for the full 15, it is a different energy.
Yeah, everything falls into a different line.
Everybody is in line. So
right, and they do what they're supposed to do.
So
we need the captain back.
We need a captain back, or you need to promote somebody to a new captain, but
in time.
In time.
We're not quite there yet, but I think we're
getting
there.
We're getting there. We're really fidgety though.
We're fidgety.
All right. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you, Maria, for doing the live streams.
Absolutely. Thank you all for coming to the live streams. It makes it more fun when you give me all these random things to talk about. And we appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you in November.
Back in November, more of this, more fun, more sumo. Take care.
Peace.